Back to the downside we go here to kick things off on a Friday morning for not only the Nasdaq, S&P in negative territory right now, ever so slightly. I mean, chopping around here. That's how the Nasdaq looks on a 3-minute time frame so far. A little bit of a down move in the past 30 minutes or so. Just hearing some comments from Sam Altman on CNBC, ChatGPT 5 out in the world as of late yesterday, including in this country. As of this morning, I tried to get on it last night. I wasn't able to. I did all of the prep this morning, though, for the show on ChatGPT 5.
Thoughts?
I didn't touch my keyboard once.
It's not great.
So we'll see how it goes. It's a little shocking from that standpoint. But yeah, no, it's crazy. So much faster, so much. It almost seems like more common sense. Like it wasn't, you don't have to hold its hand so much and like over explain things to it so much. So from that standpoint, just absolutely incredible. So as I said, we'll see how it goes. Meta this morning making some headlines as well. Huge power deal for a data center in Louisiana, teaming up with PIMCO, $29 billion. Meta not doing anything on that. I was listening to a interview both last night and then again this morning. I went back through it again with Jim Farley, talking about the state of EVs and how it sounded like, anyways, they were transitioning more towards some sort of hybrid technology for Ford specifically, and they were really going to focus on the cheaper end of the scale, urban,
makes sense,
city living type smaller vehicles with higher efficiency, as well as the delivery end of the scale, but nothing in between. He said the high-end vehicles in the high-end market is more of a hybrid business that they don't want anything to do with.
And, I like how practical and pragmatic he is, Brendo. He gives Chinese EVs a lot of credit. He basically says that they're light years ahead of where we currently are over here. So it's nice to see him actually be realistic about it and know exactly which market to target. And if he can get that out there, Brendo, think about that, being able to front-run the Model 2, even if it's not a strictly BEV, if it's a hybrid, right, maybe along the lines of Li Auto, where you actually have an onboard engine to charge the battery, so you get that full experience for BEV. So we'll have to wait and see, but good luck.
And he was talking a little bit about 700 miles in range on a combination of exactly what you were saying. The gas-assisted electric engine. So I think that's a more logical way to be heading for this technology at this point. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on Ford. Again, not really doing a heck of a lot. Apple we'll touch on this morning as well, moving around a little bit. Couple of earnings reports, nothing too significant. TTD, the big one this morning to the downside, the trade desk off a cliff. That's a 3-minute chart. We'll zoom out here a little bit and give you a wider angle on this. I mean, it was the forecast really the problem here, but kind of concerning, guys, coming on the back of earnings reports from Meta, earnings reports from Google, earnings reports from anything advertising based. The Trade Desk is a online advertising platform essentially that sells ads to all kinds of different websites. So kind of concerning from that standpoint specifically on the back of decent earnings on the ad side of things for both Meta and Google.
Well, we were experiencing more of this, Brendo. I mean, look at what Pins just did. Again, another advertising platform that didn't do that well, right? It seems to be the big boys that get the bulwark of the ad sales. And I've always talked about this anecdotal, of course. My buddy works in the digital ad sales, and I always ask him, who are you using for these campaigns? Because that's what he sells. He resells campaigns. It's always one word, Brendo: Meta, and I'll give you a third guess. Another Meta. You liking the heat in here? It's nice a little sauna, Brendo. On a Friday morning.
Yeah, we'll try and stay awake here so far this morning. It's almost 27 Celsius in the studio right now. So.
Horrible.
Happy Friday, guys. Sean off today for much-deserved day off. Obi's in. Good morning.
Yes, get ready for some action. We were just talking about Trade Desk. Here's the thing about it is, it wasn't like they didn't have the best earnings, more the worst earnings. Like, I think it was pretty middle of the road. CFO's going to be out, but you have choices now. And at the end of the day, you get to pick. It's a more of a stock picker's market in this situation. So if you have any comparisons, Pins falls into that category. If I can go into a stronger advertising name, then why do I need to be in Trade Desk? Why do I need to be in Pins? Like, Pins had growth, but it was a small fraction. It was the same thing as Snapchat. Pins and Snapchat had solid growth, but it was nothing compared to Reddit and Meta. So you lose. And they win. And Trade Desk, unfortunately, falls in that. Very, very heavy bid on it. Rocket Labs is to the upside. So that should be an exciting one here today. Maybe it'll be a rocket ship. I don't know. It's not even double digits just yet. Obviously, names like Tesla, AMD, Palantir has made some fresh highs. And I'm sure there'll be a few old boys. And maybe they'll involve Alphabet.
Maybe, yeah. No, I like the look on Google as well. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys have been having a solid week. What a market! What a crazy market! There are so many opportunities every day, and every morning my morning watch list is so packed with earnings names, with technical names, with fundamental catalysts. It's absolutely crazy, and you're definitely right on that one. It is a stock picker's market. Yeah. Stock selection is going to be really huge, and picking the right stocks that align with your playbook, of course, is going to be the key for sure. I think SoundHound I'm watching as well. This price action is looking pretty decent. Another earnings name. Lots of earnings names on watch for me today. We can kind of go through some of them. Trade Desk we already talked about, but yeah. Call this one 10 toes down, more than 10 points down on the day. 59s all the way up from 88.60s yesterday. So we're getting closer to 35% right there coming into the open, almost 35% down. So definitely going to be SSR coming in off of the open. And then similar story with Pinterest as well. That's also pretty much down almost 15%, not quite there yet as of right now, roughly around 13% from prior day's close, but you can see nice little range that we've made off of that earnings reaction. Let's see if we can crack that low, 31.67 as well. Pinterest going to be very interesting, and some day two plays as well, guys. I got CROX, so let's see if this one can grab any footing, but nothing yesterday as it just continued to sell off. No real bid. 74.13s was the low on CROX, and I'm looking for that continuation. Let's see if sellers kind of stay dominant on this one. Tulio, another one, Neil, TWLO, another one that is in SSR territory, coming into about roughly 15% down as of right now, trading at 104s. But yeah, it should be an interesting day. Hopefully you guys are locked and loaded for some of these opportunities, and you know, hopefully we can exercise our skills in the best way possible.
The other thing that's going to be in play is don't sleep on that Fly Day 2 IPO. Unfortunately, the breakdown.
Look, you took it yesterday? That was you said you went for a walk.
No, I said I elected not to take the opening print. It felt like it just felt all kinds of wrong in every single way. There wasn't enough liquidity. From what I could tell, there wasn't the exuberance. You could see in the book that there wasn't the higher. Here's the best, actually a better example. Forget about the imbalance locator, which we were talking about, where we had for Circle and for CoreWeave and for Figma, you just constantly had like massive numbers and buy imbalances the entire time before the stock opened. On those three IPOs, at this time already, or like at least by 9:30. You had the imbalances to buy of like over 1 million, in the millions. With Fly, you had nothing, almost up until the point that it opened up. So it just felt like an easy pass. Unfortunately, it did break. So that flat bottom, that 60 break where it broke through the low, that happened right after the close. So that trade is clearly not going to happen. I'm kind of disappointed here with that trade. The 60 breakdown is not going to happen. I want to look to fade anything back into that first day low. Thing is, if they can get it back above like that, the initial support, then you don't want to be fighting it. But Fly definitely on my radar, and the Fly that I caught is not. So I caught
some
fly.
torture practices were happening.
No,
with flies
it's not.
this morning.
First of all, it's not torture practice. We have some flies around. It's construction and the windows and doors being open sometimes. But I caught a fly, and I was going to dispose of it, and then these guys are like, leave it there as a deterrent for the others. It's not working. Like it's flat.
As if the flies are self-aware.
It's like they don't care. They really don't care that I trapped one in a bottle. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. No. I think we have a special treat this morning, though.
Yeah.
And that treat is, if I heard correctly, did I hear that correctly, Assassino? We've got Joey options. Let's get it started. Joey options on a Friday. Let's do it.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Yes, let's start talking about some options. All right, guys, it's earnings seasons. We're in the middle of earnings season, and a lot of the big names have already reported. And now we've been looking at expected moves throughout our intraday sessions as well. So what I want us to focus on, last time we talked about just not purchasing contracts into the earnings report. So let's focus on selling after the earnings report, because I think it's really important to note that with an increase in implied volatility comes an increase in premium. So during that earnings report, we know that the volatility obviously increases, the average true range of the stock increases as well. But what I want us to focus on is the aftermath and the decay of the volatility and the decrease in the average true range, and how you can take advantage of that by writing options after the report, all right? So for example, let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft's earnings report, you can see that we put in a pretty large range here. And then shortly after that, notice how the average true range and the width of the candles starts to condense. Well, when you have these massive spikes, increase in premium occurs, right? But after that, it starts to decay and it starts to decrease as well too. So we want to be able to take advantage of this, and let me show you how, all right? So this is Microsoft, but there's a big name that I really want us to focus on, and that's going to be NVDA. Let me pull up our chart here. So we know that they're reporting on August 27th. So right now, the IV is actually relatively cool. We're looking at an 8.6% expected move with a high of around $200 and a low of around $165. But the 48.5% at the money IV has not yet increased. So now let's lead that to our chain and how we can work and establish on how we're going to write an option between these two ranges, $200 and $165, all right? So right now, on the August 29th expiration cycle, if NVDA stays within that $165 and $200 range, right now you can see that the at-the-money IV is priced in, but that will also start to increase. So after, essentially, what you can do is you can construct an iron condor trade after the earnings report, and you've gone through that massive volatility spike. And then now you know in the likes of Microsoft and some of the other big names that have reported is that the volatility is going to decay day by day, and the chances of the underlying assets staying within that range grow significantly as time passes on. So not only are you collecting premium from theta, you're collecting premium from the volatility decay, and that's where you can make big time money when you are trading after the earnings and selling options after the earnings, not into the report, guys.
Get it, Joe. That's what it's all about, everybody, and that's why we have Joey Options on the team. And the best thing about it is, I know everyone can see all of the renovation we have going on. Like, I mean, you got ladders just hanging on, one on the ground. I don't know why it's on the ground. One standing up. We're painting. We're moving production to the floor. We're gonna be down there, and it's gonna be a different experience, but it's going to be a bigger and better experience for everybody on the show. That's what it's all about, for all the viewers especially, and we'll be able to integrate. Like, we won't have to throw over to Joe. He'll just be chilling on the desk with us, and it'll be, I think it's going to be an unbelievable feel. So we're excited. You do have to bear with any construction noises that you might hear from time to time, which we do talk about. But yeah, it's all going to be worth it, I think, and always sound advice for sure from Joe. I like this. Econogate in the chat. We're calling it the trading pit. I like that. Yeah. It's almost, the thing is, like, it's easy to call it a pit because we're raised now, we're looking down, but then this whole raised area is going to be gone. It's just like the whole floor. It'd be cool when you guys get a better concept of like the size of the space that we have, which I think is going to be really cool for everyone to see eventually.
It's a little difficult to tell the depth right now, but yeah, no. Just going back to that fly, I just wanted to reiterate, like, it was not what we were like. I feel like a lot of people were like, okay, well, you know, we're looking for the next, what was it, Fig, right? We're looking for the next Fig. You got to understand, not the same space, not the same market cap, not the same kind of notional offering there. I think it was around 700 million. You know, that Circle was $1 billion. Fig was even bigger at 1.2 billion. It's just a whole different thing. And what that really reminded me of was when Circle came out, there was Voyager that came out right after, right? And everyone was still, it was the same playbook. Everyone was looking for that Circle move. And this is what happened to Voyager coming in off of the open. Pop and drop, sellers dominant, and that's pretty much what happened on Fly. Sure, it wasn't necessarily just as clean. We did kind of take out the high with a halt up, false break, because I think, again, it's not going to be that easy. But once the sellers do come in, it kind of shows you it's pretty much the same move where sellers are still dominant off of the open of this IPO. So let's see if we get more of the same. This is distinctly different than Fig. But yeah, it's flying to the downside, this one. Let's see if we can see some continuation on the day today. That 60 level had some serious size on it. I was short pretty much almost every price going into the close, and I covered right before imbalances. And guess what, Neil? That 60 comes in after market before 4:15. Yep. So I was like, oh boy, I gotta do better with holding it, because if the trade is there, the trade is there, and we're getting that beautiful continuation coming into the day today. So shout out to some of those swing shorts getting involved on day one, just overnight coming into those 50s, and there was a lot of size flashing at 55s. I was like, oh boy, these guys are flashing 50s, they're like, okay, we're buying here, and I'm like, is price going to go into that liquidity? This morning, we're seeing exactly that follow through. Let's see if we see more of the same. Sometimes
that's actually worth noting. It's an important thing. Sometimes you will see people talk about size and level two. Oh, if it's size on the bid, it's going to bounce away from it. There's another aspect. If a stock is cratering and trending down, and there's like one piece of liquidity just sitting on the bid that everyone can see, like down at 55, as Obi said, a lot of times it'll hunt that liquidity. It'll drive down to that price, and it'll just get there a little bit faster when it's especially illiquid. So if you're a short seller and there's a vacuum and you see a monster level way down, you're like, no, let it get there. I want
to take inventory into there.
Like it might not scare it to bounce. You want to almost take it short into it at some point. And that's pretty much what happened on Fly.
At the end of the day, at VWAP, right here, around 60, I think it was 63s or 64s, there was a 2,000 lot MEMEX order that just stood right there, and price ran away from it. I'm like, that is the sign. I'm like, okay, that gives me even more conviction, but it should give me more conviction to hold into the close, because then it's like, all right, if Buddy's going to sit there with 2,000 lots on a MEMEX, you know, joking around, memeing around, you know, members exchange. You know, that's my favorite. There's
a lot of jokes you can make about that game.
Yeah, no, for sure. But you know what? Sometimes the tape is very telling. And yesterday, Firefly, pure momentum, pure tape read, absolutely beautiful opportunities, but definitely very, very ranked, I would say, in terms of difficulty. But it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, no question. And we have a lot to get to. We have questions about some of these earnings names, like whether it's Tempest or MP. We're going to get to all of that, but let's get on back to the desk before we do.
Another earnings name moving around right now, guys. There was a bit of a spike on XYZ block. Back higher right now, got back above 83, but higher, better than expected. I mean, I sound surprised, I guess. Better than expected report here for block. I mean, spending, holdings up, stock was up after the close last night. Here we are higher again. But I mean, if you zoom out a little bit, these are really, really long-term levels here. Like 83 to 85 might be a problem.
Yeah, and it was interesting because it's up nicely here to start the morning, Brendo, up 8%. But when you actually look at the report, they missed on the top and bottom line for the current quarter for Q2, 62 pennies. The street wanted 69 on revenue of 6.05 billion. The street was looking for 6.33 billion, so it's clearly a miss for the current quarter, but it was the guide coming up. You know, and there's always like this odd part about it. It's like, hey, we missed now, but trust us, we'll do better next quarter. That's how the market works. With respect to their different segments, Brendo, they did decent here with Cash App. That grew nicely, about 2.37 billion in GPV on that. They do face rising competition from Toast and Fireserve's Clover as well, but they did gain more market share in retail, they were saying.
Yeah, which is good for them. I mean, it's been a struggle ever since the pandemic for XYZ for blocks. So we'll see how that shapes up today. Here's SoundHound as well. A few of the other smaller end of the scale AI type names catching a bit on this. Again, better than expected results at this point for SOUN, extending this gain here this morning as well so far.
Big revenue jump, Brendo. 217% increase on that top line number year over year, smashing the estimates. They printed about 43 million in revenue. The street was looking for 33, so not a bad look. Their EPS, they were also able to control costs quite well. They printed an adjusted loss of 3 pennies per share. The street was actually looking for a 5 penny loss, so not a bad look. And they raised their guide too, Brendo, 160 to 178 ahead of the 164 consensus.
I watched the presentation yesterday, the OpenAI presentation yesterday when they released GPT-5, and one of the things they really concentrated. So I'm trying to update our calendar here. One of the things they were concentrating on and said they put a lot of time and effort into for GPT-5 was the voice side of things.
Interesting.
And the conversational aspect of it, which is part of what SoundHound AI is doing, to a point where the conversation. I haven't tried it yet, but some of the examples that they were showing on the presentation yesterday of the rollout, it was mind blowing. Like if you just came into the conversation without knowing what was happening, you would have thought it was a person.
I got to tell you, I've been using the one that I didn't use 5 yet, the voice for 5, but I've been using the prior one for the paid version. And Brendo, it just gets better and better and better. Can I tell you, it actually has a native Egyptian speaker now. And if you know anything about Arabic, there's a zillion different dialects, and they don't sound alike, and they don't. Sometimes you can't understand each other. And they have specifically one for every country, so it's just getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, agent mode specifically, if anyone hasn't tried it, go out and try it. It's just things you would have had to write an entire Python script for in the past, you no longer have to do that.
Yeah, and you've been talking about that
You can just say, go and do this, and then sit there and watch your computer actually go and do the task. So,
fantastic. I
was just checking on this real quick. I just saw this pop up in front of me. We did get Canadian employment data there. Yeah, it is. Wow, that's a huge miss. So we shed 40,000 jobs on this side of the border last month. That was versus an expectation of a gain of 15,000. So pretty negative for the employment outlook here. Yeah, I don't know about that. Pretty negative for the employment outlook here in Canada on that number. Let's go over and get some upgrades and downgrades from Adara. That's not a good number.
Muted Adara. Yeah.
So, I mean,
I didn't realize the mic was on mute.
This is like, the old Canada thing, by the way, was just being ironic. That's terrible. We've said this before. Canada, the Canadian economy has not been very good, realistically.
This economy?
No, this right now, a lot more strength in the U.S. than in Canada. It's definitely not holding out pretty well. But of the names you guys were just talking about, we're going to go back to Adara, but we're pretty jazzed about this move that you see in SoundHound. Because SoundHound looks real good. But we'll get to that name. Adara's got her mic fixed. We'll go back up and get the upgrades and downgrades. But I mean, SoundHound got its own upgrade, whether it's on the board or not.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, SoundHound not on this board, but a lot of earnings names are. We're going to start with Fortinet. This is a day 2 play. They got hit pretty hard to the downside yesterday. Today, DZ Bank upgrading this one, $45 price target. Elf Beauty, another day 2 earnings play with an upgrade from Eret. Peloton, Goldman Sachs upgrade up another 5% yesterday after a pretty strong move yesterday, at least decently. Then we have Block here, XYZ, Manes, Crespi, and Hart. This is probably one of the best gappers to the upside today in earnings day 1. Downgrade side of things, CROX, Stifle hitting this one with a negative note. We know that one sold off pretty much all session on Thursday. Microchip with a downgrade from TD Cowen down about 4 or 5%. CoinCheck actually gapping up, but getting a downgrade from Cantor Fitzgerald. And last but not least, Atmos Energy with a downgrade from Ladenburg Thalmann. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. Look, yesterday I didn't want to buy the dip on Fortinet. I didn't think their earnings report for Fortinet wasn't complete disaster, realistically. When you go through it, so to have expected 20 to 25% down felt like a little bit much. My approach was, well, I feel interested in buying the dip, but I don't want to buy this thing. So in lieu of taking a sympathy name, I just decided to pick up Cyber, like CIBR, which is it's hilarious because it's a cybersecurity ETF, but it would be CYBR, except for the fact CYBR is an actual company. CyberArk, which is being bought out itself. I don't wonder if when that deal closes, will these guys change the ETF to CYBR? It just make it a little bit easier. I hope they do, because that would be cool. No, I just felt like I couldn't decide what I wanted to buy in the cybersecurity space to pick up on sympathy for that down move in Fortinet, so I went to an ETF. And I said this yesterday, the reason why this over Hack, CIBR holds more Palo Alto and CrowdStrike than Hack does. And I like those two companies. So it was as simple as that. I wanted more exposure to the two names I like the best, and this ETF gave it to me as opposed to, nothing against Hack and nothing for CIBR. It's just, the composition is what mattered to me more. So that's why I decided to pick this one up. And that's just in the PA. I don't think I'll be trading any Fortinet today, however. But the interesting name on that list, I know we're going to talk a little bit about Block. I know it got the upgrade, it was good earnings. I'm not that jazzed about this at all. Like, it essentially gaps into, you made the move and you gapped into a pretty big resistance level from February, and you're sort of failing right out in front of it. I just see it, and then it's going into a chop zone if you go out further back in this area. I just think it's going to get a little bit choppy up here underneath the 85, and I'm not going to be a buyer of Block because of that.
Yeah, I think the one I'm watching there is a downgrade on CROX, putting some more holes into this price action. You can see all-time highs, 183, stepping down, kind of coming back into these range lows. You can see this strong leg all the way down from the highs. I'm like, all right, if that's kind of the size of one leg, we could not get to the highs there, just kind of consolidating in between, but coming into some interesting structure. This is a weekly chart coming into 75. Hey-yo, hello. We're trading in and around that 75 mark right now, which is that prior structure low right here. The next low, or next significant low, coming in all the way at 48. So we're kind of making a beeline to the lower end of the range here. So that's what I'm looking for. I guess a lot of longs, definitely a little bit offside off of this price action. Here's the anchored VWAP coming in off of the earnings report as well. Yesterday, pretty strong sentiment for sellers. Sellers were very, very dominant. Could not let it get past VWAP and closing near the low of day and trading below that 75 level as well. So let's see if we get that continuation coming into today. A little bit of a downgrade, maybe giving us some more oomph to the downside, but anchored VWAP from yesterday is currently sitting at 77.76. So yeah, if we do get a bit of a reversion, I want to see if sellers step back in right where they were yesterday here on CROX. So that's one of my main watches here on the day, and a little bit of downgrade definitely gives some level of confluence as well. So see what CROX has in store for us.
We love that confluence. Let's there's a lot to get to. Like we said, there's a lot to get to here today. Let's get off to the desk and maybe talk a little future. Maybe get into that watch list, everybody, because it's going to be a wild one. It's been a wild week. It only gets better every day because earnings season is an absolute blessing. We got a lot to cover.
Some of the tech names trying to get back to the upside here. I was just noticing Alphabet, Google back to session highs. I mean, not a huge move as of yet so far in the pre-market today, but we did start the day notably yesterday, leading the way. If there's going to be any kind of strength in this market today, I think it's going to have to come from some of these. There's Apple, pretty good look here in the pre-market so far this morning as well. This Tesla story is kind of interesting. I mean, not really affecting the stock too much, bit of a downtick right now, but Dojo in question?
He was asked specifically on the call, Brendo, by analysts about Dojo, and he was dodging it. And I remember thinking at the time, why is he spending this money on, I don't want to call it a dated idea, but you're already investing hand over fist on these H100s and then the B200s for your build out for XAI in Tennessee. Why do you want to do a separate Dojo computer when that seems sort of dated at the moment? And he's like, no, we're going to use it, and we have transferable talent that can kind of move from Dojo into XAI. He was dodging the question on the call, and then today we get the news headline that he's canceling. It was not a surprise to me, Brent.
Yeah, I mean, the initial plan, correct me if I'm wrong, was to have it on site in Austin.
Yes.
I mean, within proximity of the actual factory.
And to train the FSD on it, right? And so it looks like he's taking a different path, probably going through that GPU AI path rather than doing Dojo. That's what it feels like.
The one thing that I didn't see, correct me if I'm wrong again, but I didn't see anything on cost savings or potential cost savings from this. I don't know if they talked about that at all with the cancellation, but we'll keep an eye on Tesla today. Again, bit of a downtick right now. Let's get a look at the overall market here to kick things off.
All right, guys, 63 63.64 or 65 is where we closed out yesterday on the ES September contract. We're still kind of not really clearing that 6,400 point area, despite, you know, being back, being above it in late July. So we got above 6,400 momentarily yesterday. We got up to 25 and sold back down. The overnight high still below 6,400. So we're going to continue to use that 100 point area as resistance. We'll use the 50 point area, 6,350, Brendo, as support.
As always, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you take a second, jump down to the description of this video, and top link in the description will get you to the sign up page for the watch list. Absolutely free, comes right to your inbox every day. All you need is your email address. This thing looks absolutely terrible right now. And in this thing, I'm referring to TTD. Off a cliff after the close last night on this earnings report. We just covered it a little bit. I mean, there's a long list of negative analyst moves to go along with this earnings today. I mean, here we are at session lows. We're approaching $58 on the trade desk this morning. This thing went out at the end of the day yesterday at $88.
Yeah. And we were above 90 momentarily too, Brendo. So that's a big drop off the cliff there. Let's talk about how they did. Sorry, guys, no infographics today. Q2 revenue did rise 19%, Brendo, to $573 million, but the growth slowed from the 26% that they grew last year on the quarter in Q2 and 25% earlier this year in Q1. So the demand for connected TV advertising service weakened, they said, as brands tighten budgets amid economic uncertainty. We'll have to see if that picks up after, you know, tariffs are all said and done with. The brands in key categories like auto, Brendo, consumer packaged goods, they all saw heightened volatility in Q2. And here's how they did. Their operating expenses actually increased about 18% in the quarter, pressuring margins, and their Q3 revenue guidance, $717 million. But that was roughly in line, but it seemed to fail to excite these investors.
Weekly charts required for SR, support and resistance levels, guys. I guess you got to go all the way back to 2023 here. Last time we were down here for the trade desk.
So yesterday, I mean, if you look, when you guys watch Brandon and Sharif up there on that gorgeous desk that Randy built, that's the trade desk yesterday.
Yeah.
Now today, that bad boys, you remember when you were in kindergarten and they had that joint that was like, it was like the chair attached to the little tiny desk, and no matter the size of the kid, you were always too small for that thing, and getting in and out of it was a pain in the butt. That's what the stock is today. And it doesn't really matter what it doesn't even matter what the earnings are. This move is so far outside of the band of what was expected that it's in its own world right now. In terms of downside, like this is the worst move we've seen on a decent sized company all week, and it's so far gone through all the big levels. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Like 65 to 67, when you're looking at it overnight, it's like, okay, well, you'll be maybe playing off of that area because that's where it tried to bounce early. We're at $58 already here, down 33%. So, like the move it would take to even get back into what I think would be the prior support and the resistance, and you're going to try to throw up an anchored. It's like, it's actually a pretty large move. It's 10% to an anchored VWAP, which is nuts. That's a pretty hefty bounce.
Within range.
And it's within range. No, it's within range. Like it could happen, Obi. I'm not saying it can't happen, but like the pop that you would almost need to get for a reasonable short at this point, I can't even think about that. If it happens, it happens. Like if you get into 64, 65, fair enough. Cross that bridge when we get there, $7 higher. $55 is closer, and that's the last place that this had any real activity for a prolonged period of time, like 54 to 55. So in the event that happens first, I just want to find a reversion. Like Fortinet had a good one in yesterday's trade here. Can I zoom in so you can see this better? Fortinet trended. When it broke trend, it didn't, like it went to VWAP right away. So there's Fortinet off the open. This is Fortinet breaking the trend, and it goes to the volume weighted average price and holds that trend break area and just kind of continued stair-stepping it up for the rest of the day. That's in the event that it doesn't immediately go up to 65, then the first play would be looking for a trend break in front of 54 to 55. On the trade desk. Not a very good day for them. Before we go to Yobi, I want to make sure we got this super chat because Nick W. been very patient, but I wanted to make sure we address the super chat. Neil, I like the swing long on Alphabet. Thoughts? Obi and I spent some time talking about Alphabet amongst ourselves this morning, and suffice to say, I love this chart. You've got a clear, obvious resistance at 198. I actually tweeted that out this morning. Look at the 198. That's an obvious breakout level. Anybody can see it. There's your breakout 198. That's what it looks like on the daily chart. If you break that top, you're breaking a trend high as well into like the trend line, the trends and channel high into the 52-week high as well on Alphabet. And on top of that, if you look at the last stock that had a trend high similar, I'm not saying Palantir and Google are the same thing, but if a trend high breakout, Palantir went nuts after it broke it. It broke a similar channel. So yeah, I like this Google, and I hope it breaks 198 today. But if it breaks it on Monday or Tuesday, then I'll be looking for that breakout myself.
Yeah, I just want to go back here to February 13th of this year. One of the prior earnings, you can see here, a nice quadrunk, roughly about a 30% drop. That's what we're seeing. And look at what it did coming in off of the open here on Trade Desk. Kind of a selling dominant day here, even holding that VWAP on the session pretty cleanly. So guess what, Neil? I'm going to be honestly looking for more of the same. Sure, that was a while back. We gapped down pretty aggressively, but this is a little bit of a continuation from in and around the same areas here. So once again, we dropped down roughly about 30% coming into the open here. 35's coming in. So I'm going to be asking, where is anchored VWAP today? It's all the way up at 65. So yeah, quite a distance away, extended off of it. Intraday VWAP though coming in at $60. So I'm going to be continuing to watch this one. Let's see if sellers stay dominant. Longs are definitely offside. I'm not going to be biased, but if people are hitting the bid, guess what? There's probably going to be opportunities doing the same and getting with those sellers. Now, got to be careful for the SSR bounce. This is SSR. Don't forget about the SSR mechanic. You cannot hit the bid unless you are already long, unless you already have inventory. So if you see dark red prints on the tape below the bid prints or people hitting into the bid, you can get a feel for the sentiment that it is longs who are selling or people who have tried to accumulate. And if you see that, then maybe it can give you some direction as well. But got to watch out. If size starts getting taken out on the ask, Neil, that could be a nice SSR bounce as well. So lots of opportunity. Definitely one of the top names on watch today. Let's see what it does. Holding that $59, $60 area pretty well in the pre-market session. I missed a couple of shorts on that 59 there, but it is what it is. Only about 60 pennies lower. Let's see what this one does. I'm looking for that continuation.
All right, let's go on to Tesla. We just went over it a little bit, but we'll touch on it again. I mean, again, shouldn't really affect the stock overly this morning. We are heading back to the downside here. I mean, the whole market is, but if you missed it, Tesla, according to Bloomberg anyway, is going to can their Dojo project in favor of the bigger Tesla AI.
Yeah, I'll give more details on this, Brendo. So Pete Bannon, he was the VP of Hardware Design and Engineering. He's leaving Tesla after joining them from Apple back in 2016. Bannon led the development of Tesla's Dojo supercomputer, and he actually reported directly to Elon Musk. And now Bloomberg is reporting that Musk ordered the Dojo team to be shut down, with engineers being reassigned to other projects. So nobody losing their job, at least not yet, from what the reports are. So this is kind of the whole idea here behind Dojo was to build the process, was a massive vehicle of data, for AI training to improve the driver assistance and enable robo-taxi capabilities. That was the original objective of Dojo, so it feels like he's taking a different route. And he says, Musk says Tesla's focus is on real-world AI for cars and robots, while XAI develops kind of super intelligent software. So he's not exactly overlapping the two, but he's going down the AI route, Brando.
Just noting Rivian back to the upside here this morning after what happened yesterday. This is a daily chart, so we did get quite the reversal candle yesterday. We are trying to hold on to $12 here once again. Big level for Rivian too.
Yeah, Rivian Randy's not here to buy that level up, unfortunately. So I don't know if it's going to catch that bid that everyone wants. Or maybe everyone doesn't want it. I don't know how many people are interested in looking at Rivian, but I know people are interested in looking at Tesla. And look, at the end of the day, Tesla, love it, hate it, in between. This is coiling for something I'd like to think special, right? Like it's been condensing for quite some time. Maybe not the best on top. Who cares? You've been coiling up and condensing for break on Tesla. I obviously hope self-servingly that it's to the upside. Let's be real. But it plays in both directions. We've seen breakouts on this stock. Like it'll get to a resistance level, like that 312 area. fail the breakout, then go. Yesterday, it failed the breakout above 320, kind of went in the afternoon. Today, it'll probably test it again here. I'm eyeballing just above that in that 325. I think if you fail the open, we've seen what can happen when it fails a break. It's just a good short. So if it breaks out the top, which right now is about 322 and change from yesterday's highs, let me zoom it in. If it fails that breakout, I want to look for a quick reverse short, something I wasn't doing before. And then look for a breakout higher. Like it needs to be, I think the big break's going to be at 325 on Tesla. If that short does play, then I'm waiting till 316 to look for any kind of a long. So Tesla's on the plan, but a little bit of a different action thing. I want to look for that failed break of the open high, and then the reversal back in, which worked 2 days in a row back earlier in the week.
Yeah, this I'm looking at the weekly here on Tesla, Neil, and absolute wind-up. Look at this nice little flag, if you want to call it. Price compression is what I'm seeing here, and a strong wind-up. Look at these tight holds of lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Sure, we're not getting any higher highs on the weekly here, but nice little price compression. Now, I want to throw up some of, I know you guys get a little flabbergasted whenever I throw on all my indicators for Tesla, but just going to a 30-minute, you can see. One thing I do want to focus on is the convergence of all of these anchored VWAPs. Now, it's irrelevant as to where they're really anchored to, just anchored to prior events and things like that, maybe some off of the more recent highs, but something I do want to point out is they're all converging in an area where, yeah, it might be getting a little bit crowded. So the pressure that's being built up here on Tesla is very interesting for me. We have been making higher lows, so I like that a little bit, but lower highs as well. When this pressure kind of finally releases, I was just telling Neil, I definitely want to be involved there. So I'm going to continue watching this one here with some attention as it consolidates and tightens up within this range here. But yeah, anything above prior day's high I think could be interesting if we start pushing into some of these levels, 330s, 336s into 340s. That could be nice as well, but still trading within this range of the strong selling that came in on Thursday, July 24th. We have not been able to break out of the earnings range just yet. So just holding that earnings range is something interesting. If and when we do attempt to break out, I do want to get involved. We did attempt to break the lows here on August 1st at the beginning of the month, but the beginning of the month, the bid came in pretty strong, and we're holding structure a little bit higher, 320s as of right now. So Tesla definitely an interesting stock on a much higher time frame. Intraday, let's see if it gives us any opportunities, not necessarily the top one on my list.
Pinterest, another one with miss on the earnings side of things to the downside this morning at session lows right now, although we are trying to bounce a little bit. Interestingly, or interesting comments coming from the CEO during the call regarding food and beverage and the food and beverage category, suggesting that that category is one of their key categories and remains the strongest.
Really?
I don't understand how. Are they selling some sort of food products or restaurants maybe? I don't know. Anyway, regardless, the number's not good. The forecast's not good either.
My experience is a little bit different. So I use it more for fashion. I'm just speaking for myself. So they've got this actual AI kind of feature inside the app. So say you like a particular pair of pants or a specific style.
Sure.
You can actually just upload the picture, and then it gives you other alternatives with that same style and give you suggestions, which I really like, right? So if you're looking for something maybe a little bit less expensive, you see something more designer, something Louis. Here's a less expensive version, maybe from Michael Kors or Coach or whatever.
Or Amazon.
Right? Yeah, or Amazon, whatever. So I like that aspect of it. What I also like, Brendo, is they're actually tapping into a younger market now. About 50% of their users are actually Gen Z users, with 578 global monthly active users, which easily beat the expectations by the street. Here's how they did on earnings, guys. Q2 EPS came in at 33 pennies, missing the 35 expected on revenue of 998 million. That beat 975. So a beat on the top and bottom line. Sorry, beat on the top line, miss on the bottom line, with sales growing 17% year over year, and they took home about a little bit less than $39 million in profit, so they are profitable, with the Q3 revenue guide in the range of 1.033 billion to 1.053 billion, above the 1.025 consensus there. And just to give you some ideas about some other advertising social media platforms, Snap missed their expectations, but Amazon ads grew 23% year over year. Reddit's ads grew 78% year over year, and Meta's revenue, well, we don't need to mention Meta's revenue there, Brendo, neither or Google's. They both did quite well.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine overall. Pins has had a pretty good run here, though, if you zoom out on a daily chart, back to essentially highs before this earnings report. Just on the clothing side of things, one of the things, if you remember, that came from the Google event back in the summer was that AI product where you could upload an image of yourself. And then go to a store, grab a pair of pants or whatever, and it would just, with AI, show you essentially what it's going to look like on you, which is
I feel like there's more of that coming.
Oh, 100%.
So many different iterations of that,
Maybe Pinterest, too. But on the food angle, I was just reading as well, one of the things they do with it is they teamed up with Instacart. I didn't even know that. But if somebody uploads a finished recipe or like a finished meal with a bunch of recipes in it, you can actually, from Pinterest, order the ingredients to make it if you wanted it through Instacart. So that was the company.
Love it.
There, guys.
While that is really cool, Brendan.
That is so cool.
Pinterest, you've seen Reddit, you've seen Meta, you've seen Google. You know how strong they are. You can't win. I'm telling you, you cannot win. You know what's Rocky, baby. Look, Rocky's awesome. But it's just true. Don't get me wrong. This was an unreal stock for the pandemic. Because I remember, like, okay, well, what's going on a little bit more in my health? My wife was all over Pinterest. I'm like, well, what can we buy? Pinterest. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, when the pandemic top came in, it wasn't so awesome after all. Lo and behold, there were better places you can be. We've already named a couple. The good news is, hey, maybe we're breaking a down channel on a monthly chart. Well, I don't know what good that's going to do us. Possibly breaking a downward channel on the monthly chart, you'd require getting back to these highs and breaking out. So like the excitement for like a big move or something extending past where we are, it might have to wait a quarter or something along those lines, at least for today, as Obi was mentioning for the SSR mechanics and when a stock is down over 10% and what it can mean for some bounces if you start to see it come in, that 200 period moving average in the 32 area, that's kind of the spot. Like I'd be looking for a reversal there. I feel like there's a bunch of other names which I'm more excited to trade, whether it's Google, whether it's Tesla, whether it's HIMS, whether it's Trade Desk. There's a whole host of them that I would put above Pinterest. But if it were to get down back into that low off this 200 period on the daily, then sure, I would look for a bounce play on Pinterest. But as far as the long term goes, I had a great moment during the pandemic, and maybe it's still going to be good, but yeah, I choose Meta over it. Recently bought some of that, and that looked pretty good. Well, multiple times this year, and I don't have to show anybody a Reddit chart either. You guys know exactly what that one looks like compared to Pinterest. When you have an opportunity to pick amongst names that are exposed to the same types of growth scenarios in similar spaces, then it's pretty clear the market has been deciding rather harshly the winners and losers. Like the strong are going ham and the somewhat weak are getting smoked. You just have to trade around that and understand if you're not in the best names in the space or if they have a direct comparable in this earnings cycle, watch out. If the stronger names have reported first, there's going to be a pretty high bar for someone like Pins. That's it.
Yeah, out of Pinterest, man, we had a strong uptrend into some prior structure. This is a weekly chart that I'm looking at here. So that prior high coming in at 41.43. So yeah, a strong push off of those 24 lows. Look at that failure to follow through of that 24. Multiple weeks we were there just holding. The strong selling, no continuation. Nice, beautiful bid coming in with that April turn. We saw a lot of stocks take that bid off of that the April time there, and a bit of a pullback pullback, a break in trend on the higher time frame happening here. We were there, we closed in around 39 last night and now trading at 34. So a bit of a break in trend on the weekly, going down to a shorter time frame. On the 15-minute chart, you can see that we're still holding below this anchored VWAP, which is coming in right at 35 and holding some of these after hours structures as well. Pre-market highs coming in shy of that 35, just at 34.87 right there. So some of those pre-market highs coming in as well. So I'm gonna continue to see, do sellers dominate there? We were bidding up pretty nicely. Do people take profits coming in off? We're only about $4 off of prior day's close. Do we come in with a bit of a bid? That's another question that I'm asking, but almost SSR, Neil. I think let's actually calculate where SSR would be. That's the last candle right there. So roughly around the close, SSR about, let's see, we would be about
gotta break
33. Yeah, so around 33.33s. Nice, 33.33 is almost exact right now. So let's see if it can crack that. That's actually a little bit higher than the earnings reaction low. The earnings reaction low coming in at 31.67. This anchored, I don't know if it's any significant just yet. You got to go to a higher time frame. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of significance bouncing off of some anchors from prior events as well. So maybe a potential look for the bid down here in the low 30s if it's going to be there, but I'm looking for that continuation. When that trend breaks, a higher time frame reversion might be on the docket today. So I'm going to be watching this one. Definitely one of the top 5 names here is Pinterest on the day, selling off pretty aggressively on I guess mediocre earnings, man.
Twilio back to session lows here. Just took out 102 on its way to maybe $100 in a hurry. Not good for Twilio here on the earnings side of things.
No, Brendo. There was some good things, but there was it was a lot more bad. Revenue up 13% year over year, beating the estimates by about 3.4%. They provided above consensus Q3 revenue guidance, but 4th consecutive quarter now of growth acceleration, but gross margins did fall for the 5th straight quarter, and that's likely why we're selling off. They also implied a weaker second half operating margins, as well as higher research and development spend, which will eat into margins, which will eat into free cash flow. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one, but the market's selling off here to the tune of almost 17%.
Yeah, it's ugly. What was it, 123, call it, 124 at the end of the day yesterday. $100 incoming for Twilio, guys.
It is, but first, everybody, want to take a look over at VinFast, who have delivered over 35,800 EVs in Q2 2025, marking a 172% jump from last year. That brings their first half total to more than 72,000 EVs, up over 220% year over year. With stronger sales usually in the second half, they're on pace to easily double 2024's 97,000 units. They're also crushing it in two-wheelers, with nearly 70,000 e-scooters and bikes sold in Q2, up 432% from a year ago. And with gas-powered two-wheelers being phased out in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City by next year, the growth potential looks huge. You can find them on the Nasdaq with ticker VFS. Scan the QR code for more information. And yeah, scan the chart of Twilio for a losing stock today, unfortunately for them. No, Sharif just went over the numbers, and I know Obi was like, yo, you've got the big movers and HIMS and trade desks to the downside. Well, Twilio might have even more momentum downside right now than Pinterest, I would say, having lost the 50 and the 200 period moving averages consecutively here. And I mean, $100 on a Friday as well with options expiration is an obvious level. It's too far down. That 100 level is going to stand out at the open. It's sort of an obvious place where if it can regain that level while under SSR, it gives you an obvious bounce play. Now, I'll admit, like, this is not a stock that we would usually trade outside of earnings. But when you're down 10 points and when you're at a $100 level and it's a Friday, if it's able to lose the bid and then regain that level, that whole standard play back into VWAP makes sense to me. It's not on my list of names because, like, at the end of the day, look, I just like to take a look at that Google, and this is maybe the only chance to mention HIMS. If you weren't watching the aftermarket show or through the afternoon show yesterday, you probably don't know that this has been happening on HIMS, And I am ambiguous to which direction it resolves. I don't care. To me, holding this trend line, breaking this trend line down on HIMS means losing 50 today. If that happens, I go short. If it doesn't happen and we hold the trend line, then that just simply means it can hold this prior day low. So I'll stay out of this thing between 50 and 51. But if we hold that 51 and bounce, then I'm looking breakout in HIMS. I'm looking the dip that doesn't break 50 in HIMS. So that's one that's on my radar for sure. The only thing I won't like is if HIMS just goes sideways at 51 all day long. That will kind of suck.
Yeah, I think Tulio, another one that's bumping the trend on the higher time frame. You can see here, nice structure that built up on the weekly, a hold of 212s, and then through that earnings report, we're cracking down almost 10 points lower. It's currently trading at 102.50s. Back into some of these prices from prior earnings from May, Neil. So interesting territory that we're coming into here, breaking some of that structure. I like that. Looking for that continuation. Once again, another stock that is coming into that SSR mark right there, already trading at SSR. So once it opens, or if it opens in and around these prices, definitely going to be SSR off of the open. Now anchored VWAP is sitting at 108 halves. I'm looking for more seller domination on this one there. A bit of a breather. Let's see if we get that market tailwind as well. Tulio, Pinterest, and Trade Desk, all kind of in that similar territory, gapping down, selling off pretty aggressively. Let's see which one of these the sellers are definitely going to be in charge on, but a little bit of a different look on the next ticker we're going to be watching, some sound price action on that one.
Just having a look at Under Armour to the downside right now, just hearing a couple of notes on UAA. We were talking, Sharif and I were just talking about this one as well. MP Materials to the upside again today. This thing just doesn't stop. A little bit of a reversal right now, but $71 coming into play for MP. Let's talk about SoundHound. Some of the smaller end of the scale AI names in play here this morning. Much better than expected results here after the close yesterday for Sound. We are reversing, however, right now.
They did well here, Brendo. They're still losing money, but let's talk about it. The adjusted loss per share is 3 pennies, but that was better than the 5 pennies loss the street was looking for, while revenue grew 217% year over year on the quarter, $43 million, smashing the estimates of 33 by $10 million. The growth here was driven by new wins and cross-selling across the customer base. They're guiding 160 million to 178 million, with being above the midpoint of 164, so a beat on guidance there. And the CEO called it their strongest quarter ever. They're trying to target rapid expansion in voice and conversational AI markets. Brendo and I talking about ChatGPT and their voice assistant, so it's kind of very similar to that. And the CFO says the company's moving very, very quickly to capitalize on the industry growth through more R&D spending.
Yeah, and I mean, I think more and more as these AI tools, not even necessarily the bigger ones, ChatGPT and things like that, come into play, even individual type ones, apps, things like that, even on your phone, a company like SoundHound will become very, very interesting and needed. Here's Underarm. This was that latest move. We just had a little bit of a spike back up about 10, 15 cents. Quickly reversing again, but yeah, not good for UAA either, guys.
Oh, but SoundHound, it's actually very quickly before we get to SoundHound, the imbalances came out a couple of minutes ago, but really, there's nothing over 1 million shares on the early look. QuantumScape, maybe the most notable, 570,000 to buy. BBAI, 300,000 to buy. Novo, 300,000 to buy. Pinterest, a sell of 230,000. So not very large on any of those imbalances whatsoever. Look, SoundHound, was just telling Obi, like, this is one, I'm disappointed. I thought this was going to be a lot more, I thought this was going to be way better. If you look at the daily chart on SoundHound, it's up 22%, but 1360, 50 to 60 resistance on the daily. Everyone can see that. It's pretty obvious on that daily chart. It goes and trends right into it and is now trending back. So the notion that this was going to be a clean breakout trade is sort of gone. It needs to break this down channel. If it loses the bid here, you could have a big gap fill on SoundHound. I wanted to see it hold that top, get back above the volume weighted average price. Show me buyers starting to win again, not be in a downward trend. So off the open, much more inclined to be looking at Rocket Lab Oh my goodness, Rocket Lab's already going. Rocket Lab, which is already going 8%, and this one wants it. It's holding the volume weighted average price the entire way, Rocket Labs, versus SoundHound. It's trending up going into. You can come to my chart for a second? No? Yep. It's been trending up going into the open. It broke a trend on the daily chart as well. So to me, I want to be looking long in a stock that's done that. Whether it's, I don't think we dip back into 45.5. At this point, it looks like it's just going to be a 48 breakout if I can't get any kind of a reasonable dip in Rocket Lab. So I'm preferring that, at least for now, to SoundHound.
Yeah, no, SoundHound is looking pretty solid there. Only about a minute left until the open, but I'm looking for this bid to continue. Like I said, pretty sound price action coming in off of the earnings reaction, stepping up, stepping up, stepping up. Once again, 1375 holds. We're still above anchored. Kind of broke a little bit of this trend line that I drew in, but you can see the wicks are coming in a little bit lower. The bid is actually on top of anchored VWAP for now because we held that in the after hours as well. That's coming in at 1265 as well. So good luck to everyone right there who is along here with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Only more 20 more seconds, Neil. And the market's maybe catching a little bit of a bounce into the open. Trade desk, oh boy, those sellers are coming in real hot right now. Thank you, Adara, for the bell there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Get it.
Whoa, look at that mallet. That's a big mallet right
That's
there.
why we got the custom new mallet. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. The trade desk is 100% Huaduking. 36% to the downside. That is absolutely nasty. Tesla's making the run at that prior day high. The plan of action here is if it fails the breakout, I want to look for the short reversion. We also could get potential breakout in Rocket Lab happening as well. So obviously a lot happening. The market's coming back in a big way, everybody, after that little bit of a down push that we have. I see you're into the trade desk. Rocket Labs just broke as well, and you can see Tesla absolutely flying. Whoa, Tesla is not failing this break whatsoever. Rocket Lab, get to 49, get to 49, get to 49. It almost got to 49. Oh, I didn't go to Rocket Lab for you guys. We're still on Tesla. Rocket Lab did get very close to that 49. I'm trying to eyeball this if I can get the short on Tesla on the way back in. Rocket Lab about 50 cents in the money. We want more than that.
Oh boy, yeah, no, this trade desk, like I said, right off of the open, people hitting into the bid. Got to get out of that one there. Oh boy, flip long. I don't really like that one. Got to get out of this one right here. 59s. Oh boy, that was pretty nasty. Flip long on that, back through that 56, but things are crazy. Didn't flip long as much as I had the short, so it's perfectly fine. 55s now coming in. Oh boy, 55s. Can we crack those 55s, Neil? Right off of the open, and the market taking on trade desk here. 55s incoming now. 56s was pretty choppy as we kind of bid back through a little bit, but $1 down now. Bids are definitely getting slapped out of the way there. Google through 98, Neil.
I know.
Hopefully you have that one.
No, we missed. Look,
boy.
You can usually take one breakout at the open. Whatever. You can take multiple breakouts at the open. I usually take one breakout. I have dip buys everywhere else, but Alphabet did break the 190. I just want to recap. There's a seller at 50, which makes all the sense in the world on Rocket Labs. So it's a Friday. Took some out when it broke. Actually tried to sell in front of 48.50. And it was so fast to the upside, I was selling it like 60 the first time, then at 49, then at 49.5. I want to hold to a 50 break if we can. But Alphabet, I don't have a pun for it. Maybe you can do it, but it's gone. That 198 is gone. This is a big-time breakout potential play. It just needs to, I want it to close the range above 98, and then we can be all systems go jumping in, because we didn't get that 98 break. I don't want to chase it up here all the way at 99. So far, just the one position, Rocket Lab looking absolutely fine. I did want to jump back over to, well, you're already on the trade desk.
I guess, yeah, I didn't really hold it. Man.
No, it was Fly. Yeah. Not the Fly that's flying around and annoying everybody in the office. Fly the IPO broke the bottom. It already flushed $3 in here, but if it's not going to pop up and it's just going to be the sellers winning left, right, and center, I might have to jump into this thing if it can close. I want this candle to close underneath the low, and then I'm going to take my first shot at Fly. We had to pay for locates here. Wow, Rocket Labs, that was quick. Right back to break even. All right, well, we took our money on it, and it decides it wants to go back. That's fine by me. I don't want it in Blue Ocean. I don't want it in Blue Ocean. Thank you very much. If it holds, great. I'm not trying to get caught on a Friday on any kind of a false break. If I get my $50, $50, break it and take it is the way I want to go. I want to move on to the next trade. It's likely to be that pesky fly.
What's going on there? You
It dumped.
It's holding. It's holding.
It dumped like an absolute champion. At least you're into Google.
Yeah, I mean, I took it a couple times. That first push, I was definitely chasing a little bit there and pulling back into that VWAP, holding VWAP as of right now pretty well. Let's see if we can get through that high day. 198.88, Neil. That's coming in about 10 pennies away. Let's see if we can crack that 199, maybe take some inventory into 200. I don't know if it's poised just yet. I don't know if it's ready just yet, but oh boy, what a miss on the trade desk. Look at the market catch a strong sell there. That strong wick on the Nasdaq and the ES, absolutely wild there. But yeah, no, Google is breaking out of a multi-week high here on top of 198. So let's see if it sustains. Does that resistance turn into support? That's the question that I'm asking. If it'll have us, let's see if we can crack that 199. It is still very, very fresh off of the open. The first 5-minute candle just about to close printing. Right there in about, I think it's about 10 seconds here, Neil. And we're sustaining that 198 pretty well. 55 is potentially coming back here on the trade desk. Here we go, 199s. Can we break through, Neil? Here we go, 10 more pennies, 199s, there it is. Can we get to 200? Oh boy, it's not gonna be clean. It's not gonna be pretty, but let's see if it's actually going to come in and give us some of that continuation here. Market tailwind is what I'm looking for as well. VWAP is currently at 198.26 on Google.
Yeah, I'm
200, man, on the horizon.
That Google 199 is proving to be a little bit of resistance there, but I think it's strong enough to chew through it. At least it looks like it temporarily. I keep looking over to see if they're going to catch that bid. I'd love to get back in, but I'd rather it go up because I'm sure lots of people are long. Fly is struggling right here at VWAP, but it's not giving it up the bid. So I'm not going to jump into that short just yet into a strong market. I think we made the right call on Rocket Labs to get out. That failed the top and is now coming right back in under VWAP. One and done there, which is fine. I don't mind taking that trade in that regard. But I do need to go over to the chips to you guys because AMD, which oddly enough, AMD is allowed to go down. Right back into prior day lows. My take on it was it needs to hold 174. There was a big swath of resistance at 174. And if it can't be above that price, I don't want to touch it at all. But the trade desk, that was the missed opportunity. It looks like it's done the SSR bounce, or at least begun to do the bounce play. And it was right in here through 54. Like it held 54. I mean, on my chart exactly, it bounced off exactly $54, 0-0, which is pretty much insane to me that it would have been that clean. So yeah, you take what you can get. Rocket Labs is still languishing. Wow. I guess the other side of it is, like, we could have been, if I was bearish on Rocket Labs, it might have been even better, because then you would have been shorting into 50, which is just as good of a trade. But you got to take what you get, and then don't be upset, is what a good friend always told me. I don't know, he might be eating 17,000 eggs right now. Far left. Well, it's not 17, he's eating 17 eggs.
17 eggs. Oh boy, yeah, that always smells so good.
It smells
so, amazing. Look at that, egg salad.
Don't even, it smells so good, it's not even fair.
That's what it is, right? It's an egg salad?
It smells as good
with mixed veggies.
It smells as good as Palantir looks.
Oh boy!
Right now.
Wow!
How
Look
about
at that Palantir go.
Yeah, like it smells like Sharif's dish smells like this chart on Palantir. 187. Not going to finish the sentence. Is where it's at right now. 190 is where it's headed, almost certainly. Look, this stock, it did give you stair step yesterday to be able to get into this thing, so I have to look for something else. My goodness, Palantir is super strong. VWAP, that'll make sense. As I said, I'm not that interested in Fly as much anymore after missing out on that first opportunity, but that does bring me back to the other name that was initially on the list outside of Rocket Labs, Fly, with HIMS. HIMS does not test 50. HIMS does not really spend any time down at 51. So as far as I'm concerned, it is holding this trend on the daily chart. So I'm going to take my shot at this to the long side. I'm okay with flipping this if we break down underneath that trend support on the daily, but for now it's holding up pretty well. Let's go for the first time to our friend at the desk, Adara.
I'm going to let you guys know here, TRIP looking really good for earnings day one. They did beat EPS estimates. Those sales were below expectations. I also want to let you guys know we don't have any numbers to worry about coming through at 10 a.m. Though Fed's Muslim will begin speaking at 10 a.m., guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara, as always, or better yet.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Always. Yeah, someone just asked what's going on with DraftKings. More of what happened yesterday, I'm guessing. Yesterday at the open, DraftKings had the heaviest offer of any stock that I was watching. It was just insane amount of selling. There was no bid. Looks like it's done the same thing at the open, but look at what it did yesterday, right around this 43.5. If it does any kind of a big bid, might be worth taking a look at that reversion play. But my eyeballs are on the name that's on the plan. I want to see if I can't pick up HIMS off the volume weighted average price as it's trying to dip back in. The other thing worth watching is, oh my goodness, Tesla. The other side of the coin was I was looking for a fail break pullback, but it ended up breaking away from 325. My goodness, Tesla is absolutely flying. I don't know, like I'm disappointed in Alphabet, that breakout at 98, but this was also part of the plan of action. If it can take back that high, I'm inclined to buy the dip here as well. So I'm on a bit of pins. Want to see this curl on Alphabet before I jump in. Like I want to see it show some kind of a bid first, but I still like this at that 198 level.
Yeah, the 198 could be very interesting, Neil. VWAP's coming in 198.25s. There, we did get a bit of a bounce here on the trade desk. 54s held like a champ, and the market, a little bit of a shake and bake there. You can see within this same 15-minute candle, we ripped all the way to those highs. We pulled all the way back down, and then we're taking another push right back up. So a little bit of a shake and bake across the board that I'm seeing here, Neil. Absolutely crazy. Apple hasn't really gone anywhere. Google hasn't really gone anywhere just yet, but reclaiming that 198 now, maybe now we're poised. Here's that VWAP right now, that blast coming in pretty nicely across the board as the market catches a little bit of a bid here. Tesla not doing too much. Amazon not really doing too much. What a beautiful reversion we had on that one there yesterday, Neil. I don't know if you saw that, but it was absolutely beautiful as we got 100% reversion all the way back down.
Sick.
And then ripping right back up, back into the close there. Right now, actually, you know what? My charts are not, here, I gotta reload. That's why I'm like, wait, why is nothing moving? I'm like, okay, things should be moving. My charts were a little frozen. That's why I was like, why is Tesla, I have two different ones. Tesla's actually ripping right now.
Tesla is
going crazy right now. Neil.
Oh, HIMS just lost a bit.
Yeah,
we're gonna be
looking at the right charts.
We're gonna be 1 for 2 because HIMS does not hold on to the volume weighted average price. It was doing a good job of it before. Well, maybe it's gonna try again. I'm going to nibble in. If this ends up being a bottom wick, not in anything else right now, so if it ends up being a bottom wick, I'll probably jump right back into this thing if we can close it above, what's that, 51.70 or so on HIMS. Rocket Labs, wow, that came back to earth so fast. It's still not looking like a re-entry on Rocket Labs here. It just is disappointing. It was a clean move on the break to 50, but where are the buyers again? This was supposed to be... Like, this is a hefty break and reversal. Here's the daily chart. I wanted more. I think if you break 50, you had 52, 53. I thought it had double digits on it here today. So I'm still looking for the strength to come back into Rocket Labs, and I'm likely to take another shot at HIMS as well. I see a few people still talking about advanced money doubler. That's AMD. Now it's back into breakout territory. When AMD did this before, it gave you this nice pullback, breakout a little bit later in the open, about 9:50 yesterday. It's about 10 minutes ahead of schedule right now on AMD, as this has been better than Nvidia the last couple of days.
Oh yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just been the better stock. It's kind of weird that it's almost just momentum-wise, I should say. I still like Nvidia infinitely better than AMD, but momentum-wise, this has been the better stock the last couple of days. Rocket Lab's struggling to get to that 48 again. HIMS trying to hold 52. We'll see if we can get back into that. And yeah, I've given up on that fly short. It just doesn't feel like that's going to be a short today, and that's part of the game. Like if it can set up looking like a short under VWAP or something, maybe I'll take a shot. But you had to have this right at the open, and I was busy with Rocket Labs, unfortunately.
Yeah, this Google is knocking on the door of high day. Look at those futures run up there. The ES and the Spider absolutely flying. to the upside.
AMD.
Right now, 198.90s trading, 199.07s is the high of day, so only about 20 pennies away from that. So, oh boy, what a strong bid, but no real follow through here happening just yet. So maybe give it a couple more minutes here as we finish printing that second 15-minute candle on the day. Actually, the first one, the first 15-minute candle of the day about to finish printing as we attempt to push a little bit higher and higher here. 199s, I'm looking for that 200, 199.03s, 199.02s. I feel like an auctioneer. Can we get through that day high? Oh boy, nothing happening just yet on this one, Neil. So I'm gonna be packing my patience for this one. 07s, 08, 09s, there we go, high a day break. Can you print the quarter? Can you hold the quarter? And can you print the half? That's the question I'm asking next, Neil. Google has been pretty crazy. We're breaking out of a higher time frame technical consolidation area here on Google. Market tailwind is definitely on our side when we say this, Neil. So 99 is a bit of a struggle here. Let's see if we can continue. Again, VWAP 198.34. It can chop and churn, but I'm looking for straight continuation. If it doesn't have me, then that's okay as well. I'm going to give it a little bit of room here as we come into the close of the first 15-minute candle. Only about 20 seconds left for that one, Neil.
Yeah, we're getting close. I mean, obviously, it's been a wild 15 minutes already. The trade desk, well, we didn't get it on the way down. So we're going to take an attempt, zoom it back in, to the volume-weighted average price. The trade desk down 36%. We've already gone. It wasn't like it was that bad or doom and gloom or anything like that. But at the end of the day, perception doesn't really matter. Price action is what does. Volume VWAP on a bounce play, if I like the short, is almost a given. But remember, this is a short sell restricted stock. So if it's catching any kind of a rollover, it's a lot easier to get filled on the way up than on the way down. So a lot of times I only want to be in the back end after it's failed VWAP, but I've missed the curl so many times on an SSR name because of that I'm catching it on the way up. If we go well past the $0.50, I'm going to give this just a bit less than $1 worth of room because I think you've got way more than $1 worth of upside, obviously, or in this particular case, downside on TTD. So I got 56 is short. If it gets to 57, suffice to say I will be out. But this one looking like it wants to resume its trend back into the downside. SOUN starting to look good, Obi.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Kind of, yeah.
All right, well, you know what? What's good about this is if Rocket Labs isn't going to go, that frees me up to move that level 2 to SoundHound. Because I said I like Rocket Labs long off the open, and I wasn't going to take SoundHound, but now Rocket Labs isn't doing anything, and we're already in and out of it, so I can pay more attention to SoundHound here, as that's clearly broken trend and flying to the upside. I'm going to go VWAP long because I don't want the breakout.
Yeah, this 199 quarters is just holding on the ask here, Neil. 199.25 is just churning and churning and churning. No real hold just yet. The question I'm asking is the same. Can you hold the quarter? Can you print the half? There's the hold of the quarter. 33s, 50s. Can you push into this? I want more, Neil. I'm going to look for some more. I'm trying to get some more through that 200. Let's see if that 200 comes in. 99.5s on the horizon. Let's see if we can push a little bit higher. Can you get much higher? Google 200. Let me get that. Market tailwind is definitely on our side here, Neil. But oh boy. I'm gonna lighten up the load a little bit here. We're still sitting on top of 198s here. 199 halves. 200. I just want to take some inventory into 200. Oh boy, 199 halves. Can you hold the halves now? I'm looking for more. I'm looking for more, Neil. Is it going to show me the right kind of action to take more here on top of the 150s? I like that. Sorry, 950s right here. 9950s. I'm looking for that 200. Like I said, market tailwind is more than on our side with this one, Neil. The longs are coming in real strong. I think, yep. What's going on, Indira?
I just want to let you guys know about UUUU. This is Energy Fuels Day 2 earnings play reported not so well received earnings after the bell on Wednesday, but this morning they got a price target increase from HC Wainwright. Beautiful push higher here for quadruple U. Back to you. Get it, Sharif.
Get it, both of you. Get it, 200. What? You're like, get it there. Get it, Sharif. Get it, everybody. Get it, Google. But also get Beta Pro by Globex Canada. Savvy Canadian traders that want to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro's 3x daily leveraged ETFs. with built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. So whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for everyday active day traders ready to take on the markets. Read the full risk disclosure, the prospectus, and check out betapro.ca before investing. Scan the QR code you see there. Shout out to BetaPro. Wow, I was just eyeballing that 200, wondering whether I was going to take it on Google, but it doesn't. I see you punched out the same moment that it looks like it reversed. Two things to get to.
It's a different trade.
First one, yeah, the reversion's a different trade altogether at the 200 level.
No, I'm saying into the 200 is, I think it's a different trade.
Yeah, it's a different.
Now, just a scalp-wise, it just didn't follow through. Like we tested 99s.
Yeah.
We're still within range. I'm watching trend, but is it going to give me that 200 right away? No, but I did get really aggressive on top of 99 halves and 99. So again, not really the best in terms of getting too aggressive because I'm looking for that push coming in. Market's taking a little bit of a pullback here as well. My average again your average does not matter. The move is what matters. The trade is what matters. But my average came a little too close to 199, and I'm like, that's well within range of pulling back in, consolidating, and then running for that 200. So VWAP's all the way down at 198.67s right now, Neil. So, oh boy, let's see if we can catch that 200 push. I'm not even looking at anything else right now, but AMD with a bit of continuation happening. AMD is happening here as well. Yeah, so let's see if we can come back down into VWAP here on Google. That was quite an aggressive push, and reasons to buy, reasons to sell. A little bit of a reason to sell on top of, in front of that 200 as it couldn't quite make it right away, and thankfully pulling right back into 199s. Maybe it gives us another chance here, but a strong reason to sell there as we not really false broke, but failure to follow through on the initial momentum into 200, but the level might still be on the board because 198 is the level. Let's see if that already kind of held as support. Let's see if buyers step up a little bit higher. Here's 199s again on the goggles. Can't say didn't see that one coming, but Apple coming in here back into 220s as well. Oh boy, the spider pulling back a little bit here as well. What is this one? That one is the trade desk. I definitely missed out on trade desk, man. What's going on?
Jag 8322. We'll just call you Jag. Obi's new oh boy reminds me of Mayor Mel Lastman saying nobody. And if
is that the Lazy Boy ad?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And if you're from here, then Mayor Mel Lastman was
very good,
very well loved here in the city of Toronto. But he owned like a furniture shop, and their ads it was awesome. It was a family-owned business, and they were absolutely fantastic ads because you could just tell. It was just him, and now I believe his son still does it. But at the end of the day, look, Google might break that 200. Yeah, I'm taking a shot at it. Like, I'm probably going to take the breakout trade. I'm just going to get my order in now. I'm on the bid of Google for the dip as well. But trade desk off the volume weighted average price. Remember what I was saying about trying to catch this on the way down as opposed to on the way up?
There's the 200.
There's the break. On the way up, on the way down as opposed to on the way up.
Can you hold?
This thing, I tried to add to this when it slammed back into the volume weighted average price, and it just completely fell apart on me. Right quick. Like the second I was on the offer trying to grab more at VWAP at $56, it was right back $1 lower. So the bid is pretty heavy. Just keeping in mind here, on the daily chart, on the trade desk, this is the area that I was looking for a bounce on. It gets right into this supply zone at that 54 level. So at double bottom, I'm out of this thing at the double bottom because this is the bounce spot. I think I should have been long into VWAP and not necessarily short. So I'm going to get out of this thing in front of 54, and which I don't mind. Like, it's just everyone has to have their own style. Like, for every time, I said this yesterday, for every time that this looks like the right decision to have jumped out of Rocket Labs, I'm a little shocked by how far this fell back in. There's other times where I get out of something and it'll go like another 10% higher. You just have to trade your own style. For myself, I want to stick to the plan and jump out of this thing, as I can even see it catching a bid here in Rocket Labs. When I see the buyer step in on an SSR name, I'm not going to play games with another 30 or 40 cents. If I see the buy come in, I'm jumping out of it. So we're out of trade desk. That was a good short. Unfortunately, HIM's long, no good, but trade desk short good. Obviously, Rocket Lab was good. And now, before we go to Adara, I'm buying in front of the prior high on SoundHound. Obi says inventory. I like that term. inventory into the
think
break,
like a wholesaler.
but I want to buy it into the volume weighted average price. Went from Rocket Lab to this because Rocket Lab stopped going. I'm going to give SoundHound a chance. Adara, what do you have for us?
There isn't a glut of volume on this, but keep an eye on BZAI. About 700,000 shares traded on the day. Ragnarok issuing a short report basically alleging that the company may have committed some fraud. So BZAI on watch again, guys. No economic number in 6 minutes, though. Fed's Musalam will begin speaking at 10:20 a.m. Back to you.
I need like a cold brew or something. It is like balls hot in here.
Where's the next
yeah, the trade desk VWAP was pretty tight. But here's I was saying this.
Dude.
No, but the thing about it's SSR. So the exact point where you want to add to the position, you can't hit the bid.
That's fine.
So only filled on the way up.
You know me, I like getting involved with the front side.
Yeah, I know you do. I like it.
Especially on SSR.
Wait, no, I'm not.
See him coming.
Not saying that.
What?
No, I like getting it on the other side of the
on
V.
the back side. Oh, I like the
other side of the V.
I love the backside as well.
On the other
call it
side
like
of
it
the
is.
V.
You know, 200 holding. Oh my God, why did I get out of that? Why am I not involved on this one?
Yeah,
Still holding so well. So let's see. We did break back below 200 a little bit. Market is still holding above the initial 15-minute candle high. So opening range high on the 15-minute, holding really well there. Oh boy, I got to do a little bit better. It's the aggression, man. I have good inventory from the 198. That's where I should have inventory, right? That's the technical breakout. So I'm taking it into 200. If I'm getting too aggressive, I don't want to use a different word, but if I'm getting too excited for that 200 push, you know, it's you got to be a little bit patient there. So got to protect the trade idea as well as manage risk well. But that 200 coming in with a little bit of a struggle right now. I'm seeing a little bit of a double top here happening on the shorter time frame at 238. VWAP's coming in at 199.40s. This 15-minute candle has about 4 minutes left to finish printing, Neil. So let's take a quick look across the board and see what's happening here on these markets. SPY, hella strong on the day. Oh boy, Tesla is coming in real hot. We were talking about some of that compression, 320s to 330s. Oh boy, Tesla is going crazy. So hopefully you guys are involved in that one. Google coming right back up into that 200 as of now as well. So let me know in the chat, what are you guys involved with? I'm curious to know. Let me pull up the chat here. There it is. So
ETH is going ham to the upside.
Oh boy, Fig to 190. I don't know about that, buddy.
ETH is up 3%. Well, I mean, does the 24-hour market percentage doesn't matter. Super strong move to the upside. Bitcoin is like at 116.8, so not even doing a heck of a lot there. It's an ETH story. But you know what? We got a better way to do what you're asking, Obi. If you are interested, and I'm interested, what everyone is talking about and looking at, then type, I should say, $ and then that ticker. I'll give you an example. We'll go $ETHA, and then at some point that should fly down. There you go, ETHA, ICE Archer, Worksport, Apple, Palantir. There you go, that's what I'm talking about. Roblox, ooh, that's one. BBAI, Oscar, HIMS as well. ETHU. So we'll check back to see what's leading the list. Right now, Palantir, Tesla, Alphabet, BBAI, AMD, BMNR. Hey, if ETH is going up, then you know those treasury games, treasury plays are going to be going well as well. BMNR. It's pure squeeze play, these. I don't know how much. Look, I personally don't trust the treasury plays for the longer term. I think you just be in the actual thing, like own Bitcoin, own some ETH, like that kind of a deal. But if you want that extra oomph, then this is the place to go. Just be careful of the other side of this. Like when these drop or reverse the trend, it can get a little bit heavy. There's a better example of it on the daily chart. Like you're barely even moving compared to where this was before, but it's a celebration ETH. That much is for sure. Obi, Google lost 200 again.
Yeah, it's chopping now. I'm watching it real close. So every sell that comes in through that 200 is getting bid right back up into that 200. So do we expect a little bit of turbulence on top of 198 and 200? A little bit of an interesting level, especially on a Friday. I don't know what the chain's looking like that one, but that chain is probably off the chain, that 200 open interest there. So I have no idea, but market tailwind really strong.
Like spinners on, you know what I'm saying? Like you.
Oh, Oh, yeah.
Spinners on that chain.
Spinners on that chain. It's spinning around. It's churning, chopping. It is definitely picking up some liquidity. There's that bid coming in real hot there, Neil, as we only have 1 minute and 50 seconds left to finish printing this 15-minute candle, and 200.5s coming into play as of right now. So, oh boy, on that one, Neil. I gotta learn how to hold this, but it is what it is. Where is the next trade? I'm looking for reversions now. Tesla's looking a little bit overextended here, but where will the sellers come in? No idea. I'm gonna start pulling that one up now and see if that one starts to set up for a little bit of a charge.
Speaking of reversions,
it
looks like Rocket Labs might have finally caught itself a bid.
Yeah.
This required ample amounts of patience here, because Rocket Labs was a good breakout, but admittedly, the short was even better. Like, if you were short this thing, you're absolutely, I mean, look, you had to be shorted in front of the 550 level. If you shorted going, I mean, you probably stopped out if you shorted it at 48. But the first time that it attempted to break this downward trend, I'm taking my shot and giving into this prior bar low on Rocket Labs. I don't want to give it back. Like, I'm not going to give back the breakout trade because it's a completely different look. It's a reversion trade, and I have to give it a little bit of juice down into that low. So I cannot give it past that 43.5. So it's about 30, I call it 50 to 60 cents worth of risk here in Rocket Labs. If it can hold higher, it might be worth an add. But at this point, the market's flying, and just because I like the long on this doesn't mean I have to get married to this making a fresh low. So Rocket Labs, if you had it early, look, the breakout was absolutely fine, but it looks like this is maybe headed to another fresh low here, unfortunately. And it's the same thing with SoundHound. But for myself, it's like, it's always pretty binary. Like, if Sound holds on to VWAP, enter twice. There you go. It's just weird that I always have to hit enter twice on these. If we hold VWAP again, I don't mind, but I wanted the consolidation over the prior high. You lose volume weighted average price. We're jumping out of SoundHound. So you try to hold on to your wins, get out of your losses pretty quick. I do need to check back on the trade desk. What's it doing? Still the same thing as before. Actually, it's not even moving trade desk anymore. So it looks we might have gotten the most you can get out of this. And I want to point everybody to Fortinet. Like, if you're looking at trade desk, yesterday on Fortinet, when it was down 20-something%, when it caught that first bid to VWAP, it then held a higher low, and actually trended for the rest of the day. So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not going to jump back into that short, because I think you could see the same thing happen today, potentially, for trade desk. It's just down so far that it won't take much of a bid for it to come back. Let's go over to Adair. It's already 10 o'clock.
Oh boy.
What's happening now?
What's happening now is honestly like a pretty solid push higher for the market. Nasdaq almost at yesterday's highs after two strong 15-minute candles to the upside. Honestly, yet nothing really negative to say about this look. S&P 500 also looking strong. For the record, for those wondering about if Donald Trump, president of the U.S., is set to make any appearances today, apparently I'm seeing that he's going to be meeting with the Prime Minister of Armenia, but I have not seen an official schedule released for him. If I get any more details, I'll let you know, and I'll post it on X. As of right now, I haven't posted any schedule because I don't have one. Let's take a look here at TSLA. Really strong today. Initially a little bit lower pre-market after Bloomberg reported the company's disbanded its Dojo supercomputer team. And they also, I guess one of the people who was on this team, Pete Bannon, left the company after about 9 years. There's also a whole bunch of other people from the company leaving to join a startup started by a former Tesla executive. So interesting stuff there. TTD, one of the biggest earnings moves on watch, down by more than 30% after a okay earnings report. Guidance was more or less in line with estimates, but the street not liking this one. Same with TWLO, reporting an EPS and sales beat. The guidance, weaker than estimates. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content.
Twilio not looking good. 17% still for them to the downside. Unfortunately, it's just a different type of day though for the Nasdaq, where we're trying to close in on that 1% mark. But you look over, Google looks great. Tesla looks really good. There's a bunch of strong stocks out there. Amazon is not one of them, not today. At the low of the day, Amazon, say it ain't so, unfortunately. And again, look, it's been a stock pickers type of market. So you'll see Apple, that's still trending higher. Meta over here, load, PC, load letter, doing absolutely nothing. So you got to be looking at the right names. That's why I'm still sticking to like at least for now, like the movers and shakers, for lack of a better term. So Rocket Labs has a refresher or just a seller at the $0.50. So in that move, usually the first leg, I'd want to see if it can't push into 45 more, but someone was selling it for the first like 5 minutes on that bounce play right at that level. I want to see if I can't let it hold. I added to it here to get more aggressive on that out, but I want to hold all the way at least to 45.5 and try to get out before 46. When you look at this on the higher time frame, the reason I'm not thinking this is a big blowout is on the 15-minute chart. Let's go for the small bounce play. Even more so, the more I look at this, I should be offering 45.5. Like you can't be thinking, I'm not going to be thinking ridiculous home run here on the bounce. But the breakout that's a big failed break on Rocket Lab. So yeah, it goes $2. But the fact that it came all the way back into that low at 44, yeah, I'm kind of thinking this might even only be a dollar play. Now that I think about this, I've just talked myself into it. I'm looking at this, and when I zoomed it out, now I'll take the dollar on that bounce play because that's a not good looking chart at all. Like, yeah, it bounced off our support level, but that's a nasty reversal when you zoom it out. So I'm just going to take it and run. If it goes higher, fine, fair enough. Go to VWAP, do your thing. I just got to trust the read there.
Yeah, this Google's looking a little strong there, Neil. I did get short a tiny amount on top of that 200. That's not really working out right now as we're pushing all the way up to 201s. So a big miss on my part, not really catching and holding that trend. That trend is holding so nicely here on, you can see the 15-minute on a bunch of different time frames there, holding really, really nicely. Extended above VWAP, yeah, a little bit, and 199.50s is where we're at on VWAP here, but 201s, and look at the market continue that strength here as well. So, oh boy, a little bit of a hold on this one, a little nasty, I would say. Holding against me a little bit, but let's see if it slows down here at all. 201's holding so well. That structure held so nicely. That 198 hold, pulling back into 199 halves, holding that 200. Well, let's see if it continues to hold that 200. We're only about $1 away from there as of right now, Neil. 201, what's the high day? 201.21 is the high day as of right now. Market maybe trying for the next 15-minute green here on the day. Absolute strength. And Tesla as well, man. Tesla 234 is high a day. Absolutely crazy.
Oh my God.
Aggressive pushes on that one. Hood.
Well, I guess I'm not getting that dip buy in the long-term account on Robinhood today. Congratulations, everybody that's in Robinhood. It's perfectly fine. I'd rather everybody else win on this stock, and it's not that I don't own any fintech, but I don't see SoFi doing this. And what's Webull doing? Maybe I'll feel a little bit better if Webull's having a good day today. Go, come on. Boo, Webull. Boo, Webull. What is SoFi doing today? Maybe it's just Robinhood's world and we're all living in it. See, the whole idea with this, you're now allowed to add different types of investments into your retire account. What happened to that lifting all ships? All ships should include SoFi. I'm trying to will SoFi into a breakout. I'm not even trading it. Doesn't really matter. No, the story right now would be Robinhood. 4%, all-time high break without even looking. You know it's an all-time high break. This is just a company that stands to benefit from all of the easing. We're going 24/5 trading sometime next year. Everybody knows this. You get PDT rule being loosened. They're not getting rid of it, which they should, but they're not going to completely get rid of it. They're just going to go 25,000 minimum to 2,000 minimum. That'll open things up. Throw on top of that, of course, tokenization, and it's just anything and everything is coming to Robinhood. I think to a certain extent Coinbase as well. But yeah, good look for Robinhood today. Palantir going nuts. And I saw in the chat, like, someone's like, who's buying here? The Joe code in the chat? Well, look, I said yesterday, I have no way in heck I'm buying this in my long term up here, but it's just momentum. Remember, there's the beauty of the market is the vast amount of time frames being expressed in any given day. You're going to have swing traders that like this as a break of an all-time high to hold for a short period of time. You're going to have people covering shorts. You're going to have maybe some people that are just pure day trading, piling in the algos, and all of that gives you the action that we all love every single day. So, yeah, well, I might not buy it up here. Sometimes momentum is just the momentum. Like, I'll tell you right now, where'd Rocket Lab go? Like, I'm not a buyer of Rocket Lab, but you go day trade that to the long side. I wouldn't touch this thing up here. I think the valuation makes no sense, but you can trade it. That's for sure. So I might be done with Rocket Labs just because this chart's a short and we've gotten away with kind of pegging a couple of longs here, and this is a failed break, a hold of VWAP short, a hold underneath VWAP short into an upward trending market. So like this one, I don't want to fight it. You have to pick your spots, and I'm not going to tempt fate here. Like, what are the odds that I'm going to be able to peg the exact moment to go long again? It was just a good setup right where it closed yesterday, like right just underneath where it closed yesterday and where it kind of stuck up in the aftermarket, and then it broke a trend line. You don't always get that magic twice, but speaking of the magic, the trade desk has lost its mojo. It is not bouncing at all off this low. 38% to the downside. And just absolutely flatlining here. I'm not really seeing much of a trade there for the trade desk. What's going on with Palantir? Let's shift over to something which is actually moving. Palantir off of VWAP. The trade desk is not going to do anything. Just like when SoundHound didn't look good and I went over to Rocket Labs, Palantir looks good. So if I'm not going to be trading Rocket Labs again or trade desk, I'll put that level 2 on Palantir and see if we can't go off of the volume weighted average price for some continuation on this big time runner.
Oh yeah, this a little bit of a slowdown here, but still holding that structure. We're still stepping up on top of that 200 right now, Neil. So I do have to come into a point where I am respecting this this aggressive bid that's been happening here on the goggles. As I say that, yeah. People selling into the bid there. Let's see if we can print that 200 again. 200 halves coming in now. Yeah, a little bit of a break of trend. Let's see if we can revert back into VWAP here. VWAP's 199.60s. Don't know if we're going to quite get there, Neil. But that 200, definitely a little interesting. Like I said, on a day like Friday, Joe, I don't know how those 200 options are looking like, but maybe poised for a little bit of a wash. I always like taking some things to the laundry there. Let's see if we can wash that 200 a little bit there. But 200 halves holding quite well here as of right now. Oh boy, that bid coming right back in. This is crazy action. Crazy action.
Who's dumping oil right now?
Oh boy.
Let's
some news.
Let's go to Adara. Something's obviously happening geopolitically. Let's go to Adara.
CF Industries up on this because they're also related to this catalyst, but I'll just explain what the catalyst is. Apparently, we've got Bloomberg reporting that the U.S. and Russia are planning a Ukraine deal that would cement Russian gains. Oil is dropping on this. CF Industries, which is actually, I guess, apparently its imports from Russia have inadvertently helped fund the Russian war efforts in Ukraine. They are also dropping on this, so keep an eye on oil and industrial plays. Again, it does look like here, according to Bloomberg, that the U.S. and Russia are planning a Ukraine deal, cementing Russian gains. Back to you.
There you go. That explains like the $1.50 drop that you see in the crude oil futures contracts right now. Maybe it'll catch a little bit of a bid. I don't look at it. These are not necessarily names that we trade. I'd say they've been a little bit disappointing. You can see XOM right down off of those, right down to fresh lows. This was actually trending up. So, yeah, don't want to catch a falling knife. Rather be in something that looks a little bit better. Good news. Look, I don't care who you are, man. A deal that ends a war, if you can't celebrate that and can't be happy about that, then I don't even know what to say. So I think it's ultimately good news. Oh, come on, Palantir. Hold the bid. Hold the bid. Hold the bid. Trend break was not the plan of action. I wanted to be looking for a long in Palantir the way the market has been pressing higher today. I don't want to have to put this on the back burner. This might have just flipped into not as appealing of a long as I was looking at before. I'll have to give it a little bit of time here to try to hold this volume weighted average price on Palantir. Before I have it up on another chart, I don't want to have to stare it down the whole way for you guys. But AMD, that's lost the volume weighted average price. As the market goes higher, AMD has lost the prior day low. This is very similar to what I look at for Intel, where if it fails the initial break and then holds VWAP off of the open, I usually want to short it for the rest of the day. But before I do that, I just want to see if I can't do it on a worse name. I don't know why Intel's not moving, but this is pretty hilarious. Yeah, algo. This is, I mean, you don't see this very often. Yeah, this is a short right here. And if it breaks, and this is the day that I lose shorting, this is the volume weighted average price, so be it. I'm getting into this hopefully right now. You guys can see this trend line. If AMD is giving it up while the market's higher and Intel is holding this downward trend line and I can short it at VWAP, this is an easy in because I can try to get 88s. I can give it to 93, that's 5 cents. And then if it sucks or if it stinks like yesterday, because it was a short off the open, it was a short at VWAP, it was a short at VWAP. If it does this, you can usually hold it for the entirety of the day. So 5 cents worth of risk on Intel makes sense to me. If it breaks that trend, I probably should go long, but I won't because it's Intel.
Yeah, these longs are coming in real nice, Neil. But if you look at the futures here, futures taking a little bit of a pullback here. Minute left to finish printing this candle, and look at the Nasdaq. Pretty much a strong, aggressive wick on the upside there. Let's see if this can go a little green to red on the day as we pull back. Sellers maybe pushing into the close of this 15-minute candle. Oh boy, is what I'm saying here as we pull back a little bit. Let's take a quick look at some of these earnings names here. Yeah, Trade Desk worked out pretty well. Tulio worked out pretty well. Pinterest with a bit of a bid, eh? Okay, that didn't really come in. What else was I watching? I was watching CROX. So CROX coming back into its anchored, so that bid up pretty nicely there on the day. SoundHound holding well on top of its anchored VWAP. Oh boy, so that one's coming in quite nicely as well. Is this a lick grab of the highs as the futures candles or the futures sellers kind of step into the bid? Let's take a quick look at the Mag 7 and see what's turning around. Tesla with a bit of a turnaround here. Nvidia, I can't see you. All right, cool. So opening range high on Nvidia. The first 30-minute opening range high, 182.77s. Amazon with a bit of selling coming in. Softy maybe taking a little bit of a turn here. Hit a high of 524s. Oh boy, 200s on Google. Let's see, we held that 200 halves pretty well last time. We're pulling back in through 201. I know I'm a little bit on the front side of the move. I'm looking to catch much more, I guess, inventory on the back side there. I did draw the trend, and that trend is all the way, maybe we can come into 200 and still be within range, I would say, on
Can I show you what, just once, because this is what I'm looking at on Alphabet right now. I'm looking at from open, boom, on a 3-minute. It just top wicked. Like this is a little bit of that's an obvious setup. So what I'm looking at Google, the boom, 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 boom on the trend line. It's 4 contacts and then a topping tail candle at 201, breaking the high and then coming right back in. So I don't know, that's a pretty standard setup for me to play back into the volume weighted average price. We talked about this. If a thing is a runaway freight train that I believe if I believe the higher time frame is a long and I'm short, then I'm short it to VWAP and no more. It's that simple. Like I'm shorting it not because I think it's going to fall apart, but because that's a standard setup and I short to VWAP. And that's actually a new rule for me. Because sometimes I'm shorting it to VWAP or I'm not shorting it to VWAP, but it's binary. The rule is enter prior bar high. Why am I bidding there? That should be 26. Yeah, sometimes we typo these things. I typed in $200.60 instead of 26 cents. That's where I want my first exit. Then I want probably somewhere in and around 200 and then the volume weighted average price. So very, very clear. If it breaks a new fresh high, I'm not giving it any pennies after that. My stop is literally above a new high. I don't even want to give it to like the nearest round number. Don't even care. This is a pretty standard setup. All right, Tesla, let me go over to Tesla for a quick little second for everybody in here. Tesla is pulling into the volume weighted average price. If it can revert the trend, this is another name that I'm looking for the long. But looks like Google is going to try to break that top there, Obi.
Hey man,
it's trying. It's like, my stop's in. I'm kind of like, I'm not on the wheel on this one anymore. Like to me, this is always one of those binary, you take it, it works or it doesn't. Like think of it like Rocket Labs. Like Rocket Labs, you just kind of get into the position, I throw the stop, and it either works or it doesn't. And you try not to get too emotional about the trade. When it does, great. It's like a breakout. Like I know I'm getting most of a 48 breakout before 50, and then I throw it. Once it gets up to 48.5, my stop goes into break even every single time. So the trade just gets pretty standard. But I'll always take a shot at a trade like this. nine times out of 10, I should say, because there are always going to be situations where you see something that you just don't like. This wouldn't be one of them. The R to R was certainly there. Alphabet, if you look at it on the higher time frame, there's resistance overhead. Like, I might not like it as much if it's at all-time highs already or breaking all-time highs. That would be a different story. And as someone asked, it was a good point, because I had gone to AMD and I had pointed out that AMD was going down despite the market going up, and then I shorted Intel. So the reason for that is, if I'm going to lose shorting on a chip name, then instead of losing on this one, I want to lose on this one. It's a very obvious difference. Intel had bad news this week. Well, I don't even think it was new news, because when they announced a new CEO, at the time there were already concerns about the China ties. So all of a sudden, when it's like CEO needs to resign because he's conflicted, it's kind of just like yelling about something that was already mentioned when he was hired. Either way, the company isn't doing well, hasn't been doing well since their earnings. Just gonna get a bid at this 84 level, see if I can't catch it here. So I'd rather short it. It's not as good as yesterday. Like yesterday, it gave you multiple bigger shorts, like 3-4% type of a move from the highs. If you can get half that, I think I'd be perfectly happy with that on Intel. But yeah, it's a good thing. I'd say it's a good thing we got away from this on Alphabet. Took the shot, but it just took that high one more time. Google's just so super strong.
So strong.
Here today. It's an absolute beast, man. Beast.
Yeah, absolutely crazy here.
I like Google.
Coming in at 201 halves, and I'm just, oh boy. I don't have anything long on this one. That 200 might come in, might not come in, but that Tesla reversion came in real nice here, 334s, all the way down to 330. So nice little reversion happening there on Tesla. But yeah, this market is hella strong. We attempted to push a little bit lower, but this 15-minute candle catching a strong bid there. Let's see what's going on. These are large caps. What's going on in the small cap recap? Sure.
At least in my opinion, it was a pretty slow day for these small caps. IWM looking kind of similar to the market with some strength off the open, though IWM, it's also worth noting, actually had a red 15-minute candle to start the day, which the SPY in the Nasdaq did not. And make sure to like and subscribe, guys, because I see that there. These small caps, some of them are not technically small caps. All of them are earnings plays, or at least they reported earlier this week. Unfortunately, it was not a super impressive batch today. Let's start here with Lionsgate Studio, LION. Yes, I know, a bit of a larger studio. It does have about a $1.8 billion market cap, so on the smaller side. Actually missing here on earnings and sales, and yet pushing to the upside. No notable short float either. We do have a notable short float here in ULCC, about a 20% short float. This is a day 4 earnings play. They reported before the bell on Tuesday. As you can see, not a great look here for Frontier Group Holdings. Last but not least, LZ. This is a day 1 earnings play, much like Lionsgate. They reported last night. Good look for LegalZoom. Inline earnings per share, sales beat, and up about 35% today. I want to mention as well with regards to Robinhood, and thank you, Neil, for bringing this to my attention. So they announced yesterday, not today, but yesterday, about 22 hours ago, Robinhood announced they're going to be holding some event in Las Vegas. It's their second annual event of its kind. It'll be on September 9th and 10th. Unfortunately, it will be in the evening, so we won't be able to cover it on the show. Oddly enough, it's also the same day that Apple is rumored to be having their iPhone launch event. So again, Apple hasn't confirmed their date. Robinhood has September 9th, but that came out yesterday. Back to you.
As always, thanks, Azara. And this is what is the beauty, one of the beauties of the show. You know, ultimately, we saw someone mentioning there might be news to that move that we had on Robinhood, and whether it's old news, new news, we can always get the story correct when we have Adair around. That's what it's all about. 4% now for Robinhood. What an absolute beast. Yeah, I'm happy for everyone that's in this one, but what an absolute beast it's been. 4.5% to the upside. But the other thing that's going on adjacent to, I mean, it's not, look, Robinhood's not just only a crypto play, but pulling back is ETH right back into the volume weighted average price. The question is, can it hold on? Palantir held and confirmed. That's one name I'm looking at here for VWAP. Oops, that's Nasdaq, of course. But I want to see if ETH can do it as well. I'm sure Joey Options is looking at the same thing. So confirmation that we're holding the volume weighted average price, because you had the dip under, it holds 186. So the next time it dips in, I want longs into $186, and I can put a stop before I'm even in position, and I can get bids out there as well. So I want to buy the dip here in Palantir. Ooh, Ken Donnie in the chat saying Rocket Lab double bottom. Is it though? Oh, see, okay, it's at the bottom again. It's not a double bottom unless buyers come in. Like just because it's at the same low as before, it's tempting to get into it, but my whole take on this one was I like the daily chart where you had on earnings a bit of a break of this trend. I think that's fantastic, but when I zoomed it out to the 15-minute, this is a sort of it goes step to step to 50, fails 50, flushes, does not even attempt to hold prior resistance levels at all, and goes right back into where we started around this bottom. So I just didn't love it. You even saw me when I was in the trade, didn't even hold it for the extra 50 cents and just took the buck. So I'm not trying to go back into this long. It's a good support level, but I'm not going to tempt fate with Rocket Labs. I'd rather just stay away. To me, the phrase I always use is got away with the long today, because that's a downward trending stock. So if I look at it and said, okay, well, Rocket Labs, the call is long, was that right? I mean, I'm up on the long, but was that right? No, it wasn't a long. It was a better short. Like if you were short at almost every single area and held, you'd be better off in the short. It's a downward trending stock since the open. So I'd rather be getting away with it than trying to force it. And it might work off this level. Good luck to you if it does. I believe we have a little something to take care of.
Yeah, so Trade the Pool. You've seen Trade the Pool here with us for a while now, and now Trade the Pool has created something special just for you. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and what setups they rely on, so you can learn how to grow from what actually works. Download it now by scanning the QR code on the screen or hitting the link in the description. All right, guys, so yeah, the market is holding up pretty well here as we continue to push here, going into the first hour, or the end of the hour here in about 5 minutes, Neil. The end of the hour coming in off of the open. That's what I'm trying to say.
Ooh, your short's coming.
Yeah, short's coming in now, but we'll see if it actually follows through. Like I said, buyers are very dominant. I'm just waiting and seeing if it'll actually come in there. I did get involved a little too aggressively on the front side, but let's see if that trend finally comes in. But again, 199.90s is where VWAP is, and the average participant, are they sitting on top of VWAP? If you look at some of those volume candles that we churned through 200, some of the highest volume candles on the day. You can see right here on the 200 break as well. Absolutely crazy the amount of players kind of potentially pushing in for that 200 break. The question becomes, can we revert back to the mean? Do we print 200s on the day? I have no idea, but that's what I'm looking for as of right now. But let me know in the chat, what have you guys been trading? The first hour has been absolutely wild. A lot of opportunity. Tesla was there, Google was there, Apple was there. If you took the futures, the ES and the Nasdaq was there. Trade Desk was there, Tulio was there, Rocket Lab, sure, it attempted to push a little bit, but a failed launch on that one as it pulls back right in to some of those pre-market lows right now. JFrog, I was looking for a little bit of a jump on that one. Didn't really quite happen. No follow through. Pinterest, oh boy, the only thing pinned there are buyers into the ask. So that thing is bidding up. Not necessarily what I'm looking for here. CROX, holding that anchored VWAP. Might take that one for a walk. I don't know.
I'm not trying to follow that up.
That was so many puns. All I have to say is, get it, Obi.
Damn. That's all I got to say.
Here all day.
I'm like that. No, seriously, that's as stereotypical as possible. The brother only has to say damn. That's all I got to say, Obi. I love it. No, it's too much. It's absolutely too much fun. Here's another one that's moving today, unfortunately in the wrong direction for anybody that's not trying to dip by this stock at much lower levels. MP Materials has given up the gap, unfortunately. This looked like it was just going to be another parabolic move up. The other concern you're going to have with this is when something gets final, because right now, look, US and China, it's like a truce. It's really just a truce, and there's that next deadline coming up next week, right, the 12th. So you want to see something get done. If something concrete gets done here between the US and China and it opens up some rare earth metals, this is a stock that could have a bit of a pullback. Now, admittedly, I'm hoping for a deep pullback that I can buy into. I don't want anyone to lose, but that's what I want to be able to do. I'd be watching this really closely. I think there's going to be some profit takers ahead of next week because of something that could happen in China. And someone in the chat said it's a speculative stock, right? Like it's 100% a very speculative stock. I think if you're betting on them for the long term, you have to understand that they still don't have the refining capacity here, and they're going to need to build that out. They need investment for that. They need to raise cash for that. There's a lot of things that have to work. I believe in them. I think long term, it's going to be a great company. I just hesitate to buy it up here, but I think it's going to be great if you can catch it on any kind of a dip. All right, I've seen this ticker a bunch of times, and I've seen it in the chat. I'm just going to throw it up here. How many times can Circle bounce off 150 before it's a long on this desk, Obi?
I don't know, man.
The answer, so I didn't look at this stock. You have to pick and choose in a market like this what you're going to pay attention to. But at the same time, CoreWeave just did this off 100. Like we were talking about Fly yesterday being a good opportunity to not get involved in these IPOs that have been flying around, for lack of a better term, and been free money all over the place. But there's another side to this parabolic IPO market, and that is when they fall heavily. Right? Like if any stock that goes from $60 to $300 in a couple of weeks, when people were questioning the valuation at half of that, you have to expect when the other side catches wind, it's going to start to win for a while. Well, guess what? The buyers came right back in a circle at $150. So if you got it here, you're absolutely laughing. I'm still only in the Intel short. The market is up and the stock is down. So what else is new? I don't think it's that big of a deal. That's just par for the course for Intel. We'll probably hold it all day. Palantir, however, is up when the market's up. Earnings, big, crossed the $1 billion mark. As you can see, nary a red day on Palantir since, and this is what I hope Alphabet can do when it breaks this trend. A post-earnings channel break. I think Google's starting it. Palantir ended it for the short sellers a few days ago, headed for the 190. I'm still sitting down. I guess maybe under VWAP is the wrong way to go, but I'm still looking for underneath the volume weighted average price to get into this one.
Yeah, Neil, I'm still looking for that volume-weighted average price to come in here on Google, like it did on Tesla and some of these other names on that pullback in, but no real sign happening here. Kind of makes sense. The futures are ripping to the upside as of right now. Look at that 15-minute candle right here, tending to push some fresh highs on the Nasdaq. So yeah, can Google push a little bit higher? I think, yeah, well within range, holding that structure pretty well, holding the stair step up pretty well as well. I'm only looking for a little bit of VWAP, to be honest. And if that doesn't happen, that's perfectly fine. We kind of talked about, you mentioned it earlier, shorting a really strong stock. Can you really expect more than VWAP? Sometimes not even VWAP. If the strength is there and the buyers are definitely adamant, that's where you see those extensions off of VWAP and continuations, right?
Yep.
Excuse me, that's what we're seeing a little bit here on the goggles. So I definitely have to be respecting that piece of information the market is giving me. But yeah, a little bit of a slowdown. It is 10:30 as of right now. So yeah, let me know in the chat what you guys have been trading. The strongest stocks I see, Neil, on my chart are just Tesla, Apple, and Alphabet. Palantir as well, of course, like you just mentioned, is hitting the upside as well. So in terms of chips, SMCI to the downside, Micron is very, very strong. Distinctly different is Micron right now, holding up pretty well, looking very similar to that of the market. So yeah, let me know in the chat what you guys are trading. More than welcome to check out some of those stocks. Let me pull it up here. So yeah, Google, Palantir, SPY, BINI. Okay, all right, maybe we can take a quick look at that one there. Which one?
That's Mullen.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yep.
they changed their name.
Yep. Nice try, Mullen.
Oh, boy.
Nice try. You're fooling absolutely nobody, I hope. And I have nothing personally against this company. It's just, here's the thing. Monthly chart of Mullen. Probably not even going to load. Is it going to load? Or is it not going to load? Oh, yeah, that's right. I have to put in the new one here. See, it did fool me temporarily. This is a monthly chart of this stock. These are real numbers. right? So I think you understand, most people can look at this and understand what's been going on with this company. It's, pump and dump and reverse split more times than I care to even count. And what do you think happened when BINI, which is Bollinger, whatever they're calling it, reverse split and tanked again? Let's just say some hedgies that short this name, it's putting their kids through college. And all they do is wait for it to reverse split, and then they short it, and then they win. So don't get trapped in. There's longs that you can take when these things bottom out, but yeah, it's so disgusting. It's literally annoying looking at it, as a matter of fact. Let's just look at a chart of Palantir so I can feel better about myself. It's just so annoying. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, how can it be that predictable? How is there anybody on the bid of that thing after it reverse splits in the first place? It's absolutely and utterly ridiculous. Anyways, Palantir going back into the high of the day. Let's check out Tesla, because I'm not going to catch that bid on Palantir. Tesla pulling back into the high of the day. This stock is absolutely ham. It just wants 335. Maybe, look, Tesla here, I'm going to show you a 15-minute chart of Tesla. You are through. Maybe go to a 30. Is the 30 going to show up better? I think so. Thank you. The 30 shows it a little bit better. You are through the post-earnings resistance level and now filling in a bit of the gap. I think it's not a good punch long through the high because you still have some chop from the days before earnings up here, but it can be a consolidation long on Tesla. I just think it's getting a little bit toppy. As you see on that 30-minute chart, you have a little bit of resistance into that 35, 34, 35, 36 level here on Tesla. But yeah, long so far looking very, very good. Somehow Intel's at the low of the day when the market's making highs of the day as well. I love Google and I want it to go up, but I don't want it to go up because I know you're shorting this one.
I mean,
but like,
here's the thing.
I'm mad at myself for the 98
long.
long. I'm mad at myself.
I'm mad at myself for not holding the 200. Maybe that's why I'm a little countering a little too aggressively here. But you know what I mean? Like I'm a little aware of that. And yeah, bit of a miss on my part. I even called it out. I'm like, how can we take inventory into and through 200s?
Oh my God.
Oh boy, what is that one?
Eli Lilly.
Wow, nice continuity. That's earnings day 2, right? Eli Lilly.
Two or three. You short this, Adara? Go to Adara.
100% I am.
See, this is the funny thing about it.
Wow.
Like you just
let's go.
A good mark.
Trading.
A mark of a good trader, or just in a general sense, like if a trader has this actual strategy that makes sense, then if you watch that trader, you should be able to sometimes just, like I absolutely knew. I looked at that chart and was like, Adara short. Because you know what Adara does as a trader. This chart sets up exactly how she would play short. It's like a mean reversion. Like I can look at it and be like, that's an OB play right there. I'd be like, this is a support and resistance, that's a Sean play right there. I knew this was a Adara short, get it Adara. But that being said, I own shares of Eli Lilly, so maybe don't get it too harshly because, no, look, at the end of the day, this stock, while we're here on Eli Lilly, this is what I was concerned about on Eli Lilly on a monthly chart. Like this is testing channel down on a monthly and possibly breaking it to head to the 50 period on a monthly chart for the first time since 2018, if it breaks that. So there's something pretty hefty going on here in Eli Lilly. I'm hoping, well, my plan of action is if it can close this month holding this channel, I'm a buyer. So I'm not buying back into this thing likely until next month. And if I miss the bounce, I miss the bounce. I already own a bunch of this thing. I own it. My average, it doesn't really matter. I bought this. There was a moment a few years back where it was Biogen. I remember it was like Biogen and these guys for an Alzheimer's. And it was like, oh, Biogen's going to be the play. Alzheimer's going to be a huge drug for them. And I remember not liking the price action in Biogen, thinking it was too risky. And then I was reading that you had the same upside if you invested in Eli Lilly. Plus, they were also working on this GLP thing. I was like, oh, that sounds cool too. But it was really more about the Alzheimer's play. And so I ended up getting long into this thing in and around the 200 area. And then the GLP thing blew up and I was in it. And it went from like a stock that I'm like, oh, this will be good, to like one of my top 5 holdings out of nowhere. So I was selling a couple times up there, and I've been hesitant to jump back in on the bid because I like trying to price where the bottom's going to be is a little bit tricky. But one thing you can do if you're looking to price where the bottom can be, maybe look at where the trend lines are, maybe look at a level 2, maybe take a look at implementing new strategies. E-signal, everybody. It's right here. I'm literally showing it to you because I'm using it on e-signal. And guess what? The first month is still free. How long are they going to do the first month free when you guys sign up? I have no idea. But we're going to keep saying it because they keep giving it to you free for the first month. So you have a highly customizable platform. You've got every indicator you could possibly imagine. You can backtest your strategies. You can trade them through multiple brokers. You can use the API to automate your trades, which I don't. I like hitting the keys, but you can if you want to. You got the imbalance locators we said before, and you can try it for 1 month free. So check them out. Scan the QR code you see in front of you, and don't fall too hard, Eli Lilly. You got to catch a bid somewhere, please. Yikes! It's not looking good for Lilly, man. That's not good. That is not good. Not good at all. Yikes.
Oh boy, yeah. That's see, I gotta pick the right names here, and we talked about this. We talked about this in the morning, Neil. Stock selection. This is definitely a stock picker's market where you have so many things that are available for you to exercise your playbook and exercise your abilities on, and picking the right names at the right times is definitely the game to be playing as well. So yeah, those of you, again, a lot of people talking about some of the stocks that we've already been mentioning. Tesla, absolutely crazy. Google, absolutely crazy. Apple as well. Rocket Labs. What else do I got on watch? See, I didn't have too many, but I had about like 8 to 16 names, I would say. That's a lot, right? And that includes that includes some of the Mag 7. A decent chunk, like 4 or 5 of those were the Mag 7s. I was looking at Apple, Tesla, Google, Amazon as well, and maybe a little bit of Softy. So I was looking for add a decent chunk of some of those names coming into the day today, but not everything. I didn't really catch everything. That's the thing, man. And it is what it is. It's 10:39 here, Neil, and some of these stocks are holding their gains pretty well. We're already looking at the Mag 7s. We saw some of the small caps. Let's see what sectors are doing with Sector Watch there.
I'm actually going to start by letting you guys know about another small cap mover here just because it's looking really strong. This is another day one earnings play, American Axle and Manufacturing Holdings, $600 million market cap, 19.5% short float. They missed on sales, but they beat on EPS, and they said they're actually trying to mitigate most of their incremental tariff costs this year. So great look here for AXL. This is at day's highs, it looks like. Let's take a look here at our sector board. Oh, there we go. If I could use technology, perfect. Here we are. We're all set up. This is green across the board. Electronic technology looking great. Apple, after a bit of a weak start to the week, pun not intended, actually doing really well in the last 3 days as we get Tim Cook and Donald Trump announcing an extra $100 billion investment in America from the company. Technology services, Google, as it breaks above the 200, looking great. Palantir, Netflix, Meta, also strong. Finance, green across the board. Retail trade has some strength. Consumer durables looking great. Tesla leading to the upside. Producer manufacturing green. Energy minerals green. Health services green. Non-energy minerals. Transportation has some weakness. DoorDash actually dropping here on day 2 earnings. Uber day 3 earnings also pretty weak. Health technology a bit mixed as well. Gilead up 8% on earnings day 1. Eli Lilly down though on earnings day 2. Back to you.
There, and I just want to point out, wow, Fly. This stock is heading heavily to the downside. Yeah, down 11%, that IPO from yesterday, it's absolutely flushing, but you're catching a bit of the trade desk is catching a bit of a bid here. Might be doing a bit of a reversion to VWAP, man. You needed to really have it, forget it. You need to have it like 50 pennies ago off of that low. And I did see, I know we had a trader, at least one, that liked Rocket Labs again down here at 43.5. I elected not to get into the long. I might give it a better look here. As long as the market continues to hold this trend. I mean, at the moment, the Nasdaq is trying to push through those highs that we had yesterday at the morning. Maybe you're getting topping tail. Zoom this out so you guys can see. Like, we're getting a bit of a topping tail, but we have, for the most part, held above yesterday's highs. I just want to see some continuation before going into the long on something which is trend down, like you're seeing here in Rocket Labs. We got away with it twice, but we might be giving it up a little bit here. And if we are, I'm inclined to look for like that whole reversion short notion. And there's a few names that you can choose from here. One of them I hesitate and hate and might have already missed, and that's Robinhood. Like, Robinhood's so incredibly strong, you might have missed this one. I might have missed this one already. Heading back into the volume weighted average price. Now, if it gets there, we can see if there's any kind of a bounce play to the long side. Is SoFi going further? I see the Marines asking about SoFi. I hope it is. Oh, no, not further down. No, SoFi back at the low? That's not what I wanted to see. That's a problem. Hood's at VWAP. This is at the low of the day. Which one would I rather pay attention to look for that bit of a curl? I think it's an obvious and easy answer. You know, I'm going to favor the one with the upward trend. I want SoFi to go up. I own it, not Robinhood, but ultimately, Robinhood's the one catching a bigger bid here.
Yeah, I think definitely something to watch out for. The futures, I was looking at the futures candle coming in to some of these lows here, but with only about 2 minutes left for this 15-minute candle, bit of a pullback here below 201s on Google, but still holding pretty well, consolidation sideways, so continuing to watch that one there. Yeah, so that CROX off of the anchored VWAP, man, that was a place to be. That one is coming in quite nicely here as well. Let's see if we can print the first red 15-minute candle here on Google, as we only have about a minute left to print here as we go into 10:45. So still watching that one, still watching this Tesla. Tesla has not given up the bid, Neil, and is continuing to the upside pretty strongly. So continuing to watch that one. Oh boy, the market, are these all-time highs on the Nasdaq? 23,700. I think I heard somebody, I saw someone in the chat saying it was like 23,6 something. I don't know if these are all-time highs on the Nasdaq just yet, but we are pushing into that territory.
Not yet.
We're close.
We're close. We're not there yet, but seems like that's an inevitability. Whether it happens today, does it really matter if we break the all-time high today or next week? I don't think so. I think it's all good. At the end of the day, I think we have a little bit more room to go. I think you have for like 100 to 150 points. I have the Qs up there because it was just the easiest thing to type in. But I think you have like 100 to 150 points on the Nasdaq futures before we actually get to that high. It doesn't matter. I was asked multiple times to look at SMCI. Oops, SMCI. Not split adjusted, so we'll zoom it in. Unfortunately here, disappointment on earnings. It's always more fun if stocks go up. I don't own the stock or anything like that. I was just excited for a potential breakout trade post earnings, and it just hasn't happened. And yesterday, on day 2, it looked like maybe this was going to try to fill in the gap, and then reject it all the way to the low. The continuation is gorgeous. If you're short, the continuation is nice into the low. The good news, at least, is for now it's held the earnings low, so you can always bounce off that level. That's always fine. Look at the example of Tesla. These stocks are nothing alike. I'll get that out of the way first. That said, gap down, make the low, fail to follow through, but then hold the low. If you can hold on to that earnings low, there's always a chance that you can break it out later. So maybe there's a moment for SMCI a little bit later. I just don't think it's going to be today. Come on, get down. The only reason why I want the chips to go down is because I want Intel to make that like next move flushing. So AMD is about to break the low. Been sitting in this one as it's trying to go back to the low of the day. I'm just going to get on the bid. Like, it's already bounced twice in front of the 3/4 mark. So it would make sense to take something out in front of that as well. I don't even have a very good entry here, and I have to respect that somebody's got this on a trend and they're selling it into this trend line. So if I get some out there, I'll look to try to reload on the trend line of Intel. Ultimately, the stock is just it's a slave to its own whims.
Yeah.
But if the chips catch a bid, I probably want to respect it at least a little bit. You never really know. Oh yeah, BMNR.
Yeah,
you see that thing?
I haven't looked at it in quite a while there. I remember last I looked at it, it was holding that 40-something. I guess it reclaimed. 44 hold, I think it was.
Well,
that was a while back. Yeah,
no, you're probably talking about like way back here or yesterday?
Yeah, no, that consolidation.
Yeah, way back here, this consolidation.
We reclaimed, which is
sick.
Yeah,
because when something like this breaks down, usually you're thinking,
you're looking for it to follow through.
Yeah, follow through, fill in the gap, and just screw everybody. But that's not what happened here. ETH caught another bid, and this is a nice little rounded bottom. And when it goes, it can go for a couple of days. But just remember, if you're trading this or what's the other one? SBET, SBET. If there's any weakness that happens over in ETH, sometimes you got to get the you-know-what out of Dodge. As long as ETH is an uptrend, then it's going to go ham. That's what it does. But the second ETH breaks trend and starts heading to the downside, rug can get pulled very, very quickly, everybody. Passport Chaos, to Chaos, sorry. Can you look at Fig, pretty please? Well, he sent a super chat. The pretty please actually would have got it done. I'll slave to that too. Figma. First off, Figma was very good to the long side on day one. Since then, it's been a short. It's just going in the other direction. It's been going in the other direction pretty heavily as well. So, you know, like I said, you always have to be careful with any IPO after that initial rush. This one is no different. It looks like this is headed for a retest of a quote-unquote all-time low because it's only been trading for a week. Every single day that it makes a low is going to be an all-time low past here. This could be a flat bottom break. I was looking at Fly today for a short opportunity. It never really came into fruition, but I can replace it with Figma. I just have to go pay for some locates.
Didn't give you anything to swat at?
Oh, I did pay for locates on Figma. It didn't give me anything to swat at? Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good one. I like that.
I mean, I was watching it as well, and I think that level came in quite nicely there.
That's
Was it the IPO price was, no, Fig was 85. Fig's kind of been doing some things with that 85 as of recent. So interesting action on that.
The
one
low
there.
is 76, like 60 or so. So it's got like $1.50 to get to that bottom, and it could break. So it can break today's low and yesterday's low before getting to an all-time low, which means going short into it actually makes sense. I paid for locates. I might take a 78 break. I don't think it's SSR. So I should be able to get filled. Yeah. I'll take a shot at this breaking 78 and then try to hold it into the all-time low, which is only $1.50 low. But I believe this is, I think it's like a short till it's not kind of deal with Figma.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already 10:50?
Oh, boy.
Oh, time to get little money talks, everybody. What's the US dollar doing? And at some point, you got to figure out what's for lunch.
This is the US dollar. I've talked a little bit about how we're trying to hold some kind of higher low support. That level has not been super consistent. We're above 98 though, which is a good look. And again, I think we might be okay unless we make a decisive lower low below that 97.5 level. I do want to mention that we are still largely seeing a 25 basis point cut coming through on September 17th. That would be the next Fed meeting in over a month. But we do have some more key pieces of economic data to come ahead of that meeting, which a lot of Fed speakers have mentioned and opined on with regards to how that may or may not impact their decision. Right now, 89.4% of participants are pricing in a cut, 10.6% expecting no change. We do have Fed's Mullen. He started speaking at 10:20. I only started seeing comments coming in about 5 minutes ago. Nothing super major or market moving, and I'm just seeing apparently those remarks ended. Now, I'm very excited to talk about our new Fed member. His name is Stephen Moran. I whipped up a quick new infographic, or I just edited my existing infographic here yesterday. This is on X at TTV Research to show Stephen Moran now where Adriana Kugler used to be. Now, it's been pretty clear he's not their pick for the Fed chair. He's just going to be Trump's pick to fill Adriana Kugler's position until January 31st, 2026, which is when Kugler's term as the Fed governor would have ended. Now, I want to mention as well, Stephen Moran, I did do a little bit of a deep dive. He has been critical of Powell in the past. He is very much pro-tariff. In fact, even yesterday, a couple of hours before his appointment was announced, he did say in an interview that Christopher Waller, this individual here who has been potentially viewed as the next Fed chair, he said that Christopher Waller is the only member of the Fed who has not succumbed to, quote, tariff derangement syndrome. So he could be a bit of a firecracker within the Fed room. Back to you.
I like that. Firecracker. Well, I mean, it's excitement for sure, but certainly things are getting spicy around the Fed. And it's not just because we're going to ideally have a rate cut in September, but you had a historic thing happen at the last Fed meeting, which has been 30 years since you had two dissents. And then on the back of that, you had double barrel action where both the labor market pointing us toward what needs to be, well, what many would see as a need to be cuts because the labor market shows a ton of weakness. in a surprise report. And on top of that, you get a new Fed member, which we know leans more on the side of cuts right now and also supporting tariffs. So definitely a shakeup there for sure. Someone asked in the chat, they're saying it was surprising that we had to pay for Figma locates for the ability to short. So I'll let you know what the cost was. It was 0.00026 per share to get shorts on Figma. It's effectively free. Yep. You just have to go process it. It's basically free at the end of the day. Like it's Fly on day 2 is like 5 cents per share. Like it costs us, what is that, like 2,000 times the price to short Fly than Figma, and even Fly, you get a couple hundred shares, it costs $10. So to say that we have to pay for locates on Fly is kind of, or on Figma is a little bit, it's not, it's
Would you
true.
say it's short-lived?
No, well, yeah, the long was short-lived. Are you kidding me? Absolutely short-lived.
Fly's short lifespan.
Well, they do have a short lifespan, but the ones
like
around
24
here,
hours or something.
the ones around here seem like they live forever.
Yeah, forever.
This still can't catch a bid. Trade Desk is not catching a bid here. Right back into the low of the day. That's disappointing. I thought there'd be a bounce play on this so you could try long. It's just not happening. The futures are starting to roll over a little bit. Let's have a look to see Tesla. Still at the high of the day, Tesla. That's holding up pretty nicely. And Palantir's right back into the volume weighted average price. So this is kind of that spot. Like, is Palantir going to be able to bounce again? Or are we going to get another flush job?
Yeah, I think.
I just heard we're going back to Adara quick.
Yeah, rough day here for Blaze Holdings BZAI. I mentioned earlier, Ragnarok Research issued a short report on this name. Now we have White Diamond issuing a short report on this name. Why, you may ask? Because of Ragnarok Research's short report. Yes, that's right. They literally cited another group's short report as the reason they would issue their own short report. Just so you guys know, Ragnarok Research's report had to do with fraud. Because they're quoting this report, I'm guessing White Diamond's reason is pretty similar. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, as always, Adara. I promised I would, and I didn't do it. I know Joey Options will get upset if we don't find out what is for lunch. Yeah. You know how we do around here.
Oh, yeah.
This really, oh, goodness. Well, maybe you're not going to like this one, Joey Options. It's not, first of all, lunch is not beef stroganoff. We've got blackened bassa. Again,
says Ramin.
Which we did have. Didn't we have that? I think we had that last week. Vegetable pilaf, seasonal vegetables, and chef's choice salad. So,
y'all are way too picky. It's just sustenance for me.
It's just sustenance?
Yeah.
Well, I know you'll eat anything.
Feed me so I can be ready for the next opportunity. That's how.
No, food is fuel, but you can enjoy food.
Oh, of course.
I'm a big believer.
Not during the trading day.
Man. I'm just saying you can.
We save that for after hours. You know what I mean? We can go out somewhere nice. We'll do whatever.
Fine.
You know. But
I like a good meal.
When we're working,
I can't lie.
The tank has to be maybe not extremely full, but I would say at least 25 to 50%.
25 to 50%.
Yeah, because you still got to be a little hungry for these opportunities.
You could be hungry when you're at 80%. Are you crazy? No, I'm not trying to be 25% full.
Yeah, why not?
No.
You can snap.
Now, metaphorically, yes. Literally, no.
Fair.
Absolutely not. Hungry for like opportunities, hungry to get all that kind of stuff, I'm down with that. But literally hungry? Hell no, man.
You can't be in hunger mode.
I want to be blessed
like
to not be, but to not be literally hungry. Let's be real for a second. You don't actually want to be that hungry. But the short is starting to come in. I just saw in the chat someone just
roll over.
Snowflake. I didn't notice this. Snowflake on the daily chart. That's not good. That is not good at all. This is heading for a jaunt. It looks like at least back to 190 bucks. We did not notice this yesterday either. Snowflake is really starting to break down. Not looking good at all. And I've seen a couple of point outs to this one, and that's Micron. Micron with a buy program again. So Micron's right back to a very, very big level at about 116 bucks. Trend into this 116 level on the daily. Can I show that on the 15? There you go. So you can see it on the 15-minute like this. So big time buy. I don't know if there's any news specific to Micron here, but it is definitely trending differently from the other chip names. and much, much stronger. If this can hold above 116, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole unless I know what's going on with it, because it's at a huge resistance spot at 11 o'clock, which is usually a reversion time. So yeah, good one on Micron. It closed above the 50 period, looks good for next week. More maybe this afternoon, but that's a big one there, Micron. Going counter trend, because we were looking at AMD. I mean, Intel's at the low of the day, but Intel's Intel, so who cares? Like, it's at the low of the day every day. But AMD's at the low of the day. That's a bullish stock, and it's looking pretty weak. Nvidia's having a good day, but I wouldn't call it a great day. As it, 1%, barely better than the market. So Micron's definitely doing this one on its own, to a certain extent.
I think with the futures pulling back this much, I'm looking for, like I said earlier, like where is the reversion? It seems like the reversion is only on some of these beta stocks here. Apple not really pulling back that much. Alphabet not really pulling back that much. Circle, I guess. Well, that's not the next. Let's see what else. Oh, Softy's the one, Neil. Softy's the one about to break a low of day. So that's the one giving us a little bit of a selling spider as well. Nice little pullback on that one. Oh boy, coming in with a bit of a bid once again here on the goggles. Oh boy, the consolidation sideways is absolutely crazy, man. I'm looking for that breakdown. The 280 is reserved pretty well here as well, and just holding and stair-stepping even higher going into the end of the hour here. Only about a minute left. Crazy, crazy price action on the day today. A nice little chop and churn here on the goggles. Let's see if it'll hold. Let's see if we can print some fresh highs. I have no idea. I'm still waiting on this one. VWAP, nowhere to be seen is VWAP. And yeah, the aggressive bid going into the close of the hour as of right now. Maybe that 15-minute candle going a bit red to green as well. So, oh boy,
check this one
gotta
out,
respect that one.
Remember when we said we don't trust block?
The block is hot.
The block ain't hot at all. The block is a fail. Block all the way red. All the way red after their earnings beat. You're talking about $85, and this was the thing that tripped me out, was you were going and gapping right into a big resistance on the daily, and then you already failed. Oh, this was a missed opportunity. But like, you already had failed it because you got there in the aftermarket, you came in, gapped underneath aftermarket support. There's not a single green candle on the 15-minute chart the entire day for block. Good shout out, but it's already 11 o'clock, everybody.
Oh,
well, we've got blackened fish for lunch.
Yes.
I'm gonna have a salad. We'll see if there's actually fish with the salad. I have no idea if that's gonna be true or not. But until we get back to you guys at 2, which we will, you've got Joey Options, who may or may not like the blackened fish. You've got the Professor, who's already had 17 eggs, so he's locked and loaded and ready to go.
He's definitely 100% full.
You've got some madness and some small cappers, some options. Talk about probably some Bitcoin or ETH, which is doing actually much better today. Let's go get it, boys. Enjoy the show.